This episode is brought to you by Lone Wolf Paintball. They are an amazing online supplier and have been around since the beginning of the game as Michigan's premier paintball field and paintball supplier since 1987. They are rapidly expanding into the online retail space and supplying everything you need to be the best paintball player you can be. They have got it all. Head over to lonewolfpaintball.com and shop all of your favorite brands. And they also boast amazing customer service and will have this out to you with same day shipping, which is amazing. It's always nice to know that your stuff is on its way immediately so you can start to use it that very next weekend of play. Check out their YouTube, Lone Wolf Paintball, and their Instagram at Lone Wolf PB, and stay up to date with all of their deals and sales. Play the Game podcast is immensely honored to have them on board, and we cannot wait for you guys to check out lonewolfpaintball.com and become a part of their community. Today's episode of PTG is brought to you by the one and only Trans Labs that brought the world two amazing products. First off, Transfuse, which is a hydration multiplier, and most recently, they just dropped Transcend, which is a nootropic energy formula. No matter what you use, when you choose Trans Labs, you are going to be boosted and you are going to be ready to charge the paintball field and win out there. With Transfuse, that is a premium rapid hydration multiplier and immunity fortifying formula scientifically designed to replenish you at the cellular level. And they use all natural ingredients in this product. We've got zinc, we've got vitamin B6, we've got vitamin C, sodium, potassium, choline, and it is an amazing way to make sure that you're hydrated and prepared to play top level paintball. When it comes to Transcend, that is a premium nootropic energy formula designed to increase cognitive performance, elevate mood and clarity while supporting long-term brain health, and it's going to leave you feeling great with no crash or jitters. It's one of the only products in the nootropic space backed by research studies to ensure the formula is correct for optimal performance. It is more potent than anything on the market, and it will keep you charged and ready to win out there. I take one scoop, but if you're stimulant sensitive, take a half scoop. And if you want that LFG dose to launch to the moon, dump 2 scoops in your drink and you are going to be flying down that paintball field. Comes in 2 delicious flavors, Baja Blast and Skittles Candy for the Transcend. And for the Transfuse, they have 2 new flavors as well, Pineapple Express and Hawaiian Punched. So if you get a chance, head over to translabs.com. That's TRANZLABS.com. Use code PLAYTHEGAME and you'll get 10% off. If you subscribe to a monthly delivery service, you also get 10% off as well. So you can take advantage of 20% off on these products. Head over to translabs.com and give it a go.
All right, PTG fam. Thank you guys so much for rocking with us. We hope that you guys enjoyed that one as much as we did. What an amazing episode. Matty is just one of those rare individuals that if you have a person like that in your life, there is so much to learn, so much to teach you about yourself just by the way they communicate. It's truly amazing. Very thankful to have Matty as a friend and somebody that I've been able to look up to my entire career. I know we disagreed a little bit on some topics in here, but again, I think that leads to great conversation and great points on both sides. And we're just incredibly grateful for Matty and everything he does for the sport. As always, if you guys enjoyed the show, if you guys liked it as much as we did, you could head over to ptgpaintball.com and become a supporter. That would be fantastic. It means the world to Tyler and myself. Click the Patreon link. If you sign up at any level, you will get access to the Discord. You guys here at the end of the show, we do questions from the Discord. That's how you get involved with that. If you're in the Discord, there's a channel for guest questions. You can submit your question, and the community kind of votes on questions they think are good, and that's how we pick. So, again, just huge thank you to all the supporters, all of you. Thank you so much. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you very soon.
That was an insane inside move by Marcelo Margot. Great communication.
And the crowd starts chanting Harmon.
Great shot by all the guys. So Tyler Harmon saved that game. He came out with 2 wins. Marcelo Margot was on fire.
And let's commence the conversation. Where did we leave off? I feel like we're talking about 15 things simultaneously. So
You know how it goes.
As
you know how
it
it
goes.
at PTG.
Yeah, it's funny because this is how lunches are with you too. I can I can't even count how many times we would go meet for lunch around 12:30 or 1 o'clock down in North Park, and all of a sudden we're leaving and the sun's setting. We're like, oh man, we're like riding the scooters back, to your house, and it's like, almost sunset. Like, all right, well, that was a smooth 5-hour lunch. Good times. Good times.
Those are the good ones. Those are the good ones. So
Absolutely.
where would we like to commence the
Well,
spectrum of this conversation?
First off, I just want to say thank you so much for being here again, and we hope that young Monty is doing well. First and foremost, that he wasn't feeling good. So shout out to you being a dad in the game and just holding it down and being the best at what you do on all fronts. Hopefully everything's good with the squad in San Diego.
Yeah, he's doing fine. It's if anyone that's had kids, he's got the hand, foot, mouth,
Yeah,
random virus
it's
that
common.
goes around. It sucks. They get this it looks like they just dove into some poison ivy. And then he's battling it, but he's healing up like the Wolverine, and he slept 13 hours last night. So I didn't, I'm still kind of battling a little jet lag, but whatever, dude. We're locked in the pocket. We're going to be having some paintball conversations or some conversations about wherever the twists and turns may go.
Are you still dealing with jet lag?
A little bit. I fell asleep. I'm not a napper. Like, I don't nap. But yesterday at midday, I was just like, going to Europe, I feel like I've got a system dialed. But coming back, I think it's also just, I really try to focus. And when I'm there, and if I you don't get to sleep much, whatever, you just gotta give it your all when you're there. But when I come back, I don't really have I always just get a little wreck coming back from Europe. It takes me about, I don't know, especially, and brother, just warning you what's coming up. It does not get any easier.
No,
that's a little older. I mean,
that's why I'm bringing it up. That's why I'm bringing it up. So after 2.5 years of not really traveling international, Germany was my first international trip. And I've got a system too. Like, you want to stay up and go to sleep so you'll have an appropriate, if you're going to sleep, make sure that you're waking up as you're landing. If you're landing in the morning, and then thug it out throughout the whole day. Don't nap. Don't fall asleep until 8:39 at the earliest the next night. Get on the schedule.
Yep.
The whole time I was in Germany, I was cooked. I was like, is it the fact that I haven't done this recently, or am I getting older, or is it both? And then when I got home, I was cooked for like days. And then this trip to Australia was just brutal. Like the whole time, my sleep's messed up. I'm like, man, all right, this travel thing is it's not as easy as I remember a couple years ago. It used to be
when I was young. Bro, first of all, I used to time travel on planes. So when I would just, I could just go. I'd get on the plane, it would start moving around, and I'm out, and I'm sleeping the whole way there. I remember one time I got sandwiched in between this elderly Spanish mom yelling at her daughter, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a long ass plane ride, man, all the way to. And then I just wake up and I'm there. I mean, I was a little hungover that morning, so it was but it ended up being totally fine. Anyway, just. Dude, I don't want to do that at all now. Anyway, but I used to feel planes, and I can't, and I'm not quite as tall as Tyler, but I'm, decently over 6 foot, and they keep taking the space. Anyway, it sucks.
I think about you guys almost every time I fly with the height.
With the peasants, the peasants back there, or because you're up there in the baller ass first.
Yeah, those poor guys. It's a crazy situation if you're tall flying economy. It's a crazy situation.
Can we just send a public service announcement out there? Hey, look, everyone in the world, pick an airline and pick it early.
Yes,
true.
Just stick on that one.
Pick a credit card with that airline.
Or die.
Get your miles, get your status.
Airline.
Yeah, totally.
I did not do that when I was younger, and anyway, that's a different story. But yeah, dude.
So
yeah,
true,
bro. It's absolutely horrible.
Okay, so before we go on an hour and a half tangent on the different airline statuses and all the different benefits, let's dive into rounding out the European event, because there was a lot of great stuff that happened this last weekend. We did touch on how amazing Ainsley did, how great of an event it was, Lucky 15s, how exciting they were to watch, but there's still a lot of stuff to kind of discuss.
Yeah. I guess maybe we should finish, because Breakout Spa won the event, so I do want to spend some time giving them props, but let's kind of finish the Lucky 15s conversation, because they took second and they were the story of the tournament. And I just think that it was, if they can keep that team together, I do think that they have a future. because they do have an interesting mix of young guys, and it does remind me of a lot of good, young teams I've seen thrive. You know, any team that's come up that's made a splash, like you have to have your reckless ones willing to just crash into the other team. Those guys need to be fearless, and they need to be pretty good. And they have a couple of those guys. They have 2 of them on the snake side with Lewis Coffey and then James Green, aka Greeny. And then they have Spencer Tilbury on the D side. But then they have some good 2s behind those guys, because Ethan Levitt Jr. And just real quick, so everyone in the States is like, dude, why are we talking about the Europeans? You know, I'm a fan of paintball, but I watch, the dudes that play in the States, because we're going to see the top 3 teams, I think it is, for Champions Cup. So whoever wins the last event in Paris, which is in 2 months or something, whoever wins that event, then they are going to get a bye into the top 8 for the Champions Cup, which is going down at World Cup. And then if that team that wins is one of the top 2, then there's going to be an addition. So basically, like, the top 3 teams come over. Okay, so, and that's kind of why, so we're sitting here telling these stories because we're going to see. And people kept asking me, Matty, how would we match up, bro? Like, everyone, when we were doing the webcast over there, like there's a couple questions that kept popping up, and one of them that kept popping up was, okay, Lucky 15s go to the States, how do they do? Which we can discuss, but just so everyone knows, we are going to see the top European teams over there. And then another guy that bears mentioning is Mason Hines. He played the 2 on the D side. And then, of course, the badass legend, European legend, veteran himself, Clint Moore. So they would have really good mix, bro. Like, if they can keep that team together and they can actually practice some decent teams, like if I could teleport that team over here to the United States and keep them together for 3 years and have them play like Dynasty and Houston Heat and Impact on the reg, like that might be a legit group of dudes that could maybe make a run at being a really good pro team. But I don't know. That's up to them. It's like I always tell people, like, that's between you and you, bro. Like, that has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with that dude over there or that dude sitting there. It's everything to do with you. And, what can you bring to bear on this?
Matty, what would be some advice you would give to teams out there, looking to, like this team, for example, to take that next step and be a force when they step into the pro ranks in Florida for the Champions Cup? They have to have a certain set of skills already, worked out in order to be successful out there. So what would be your advice to them?
My advice to them would be like, look, whatever petty rivalry bullshit that we have lingering over there in Europe, or we don't want to travel. Another thing I seem to get from Europeans, and I mean, I'm not trying to beat you guys up over this, but I'm from California, so I really have no mercy and no soft spot in my heart for people that aren't willing to drive for your dream. If you're not willing to drive for your dream, then I don't want to hear about how hard it is to do the thing that you want to do. Like, if you can't get your ass in a car seat and find a way to carve out a little bit of time to go and scrimmage and play or train or whatever you want to call it against people that are better than you at this, then you really don't want it bad enough. And I don't really care about your excuses, because we had all those same excuses, bro. Like, I worked 3 jobs and through college while playing pro paintball while getting a college degree. Like, I didn't have a family at the time, but I get how difficult things can be. Yeah. But I don't really care about your excuses, because other people are finding ways to make that happen. It's harsh to say, but hey, man, welcome to the world. Welcome to reality. If you can't drive for your dream, so with them, so real quick, I would like to say, get all the top teams in Europe should be trying to play each other as much as they possibly can. And some of them have, but they have these kind of groups of teams that play each other, and intermixing that a little bit for the greater good, knowing that if you're gonna come and bang against the dudes over here in the United States, like, good luck, and wish it the best for you, but you're gonna need to play against each other, at least, as because that happens over here. Heat will go and play, teams will go play Heat, Dynasty will go play teams, whoever can give them a good practice. The Europeans don't do that as much, and that's a big glaring, yet relatively simple fix. And they do play each other a little bit, but it seems to be a little bit more regional, like, I don't know.
What about
it is for sure. And real quick, because I watched just about every single match from the weekend. I was just home fiending on my computer, and it was
we missed you, bud.
I don't know. It's kind of cool because I got to be a fan. Yeah, I got to be a fan for the weekend. But I really wanted to be there. But watching the Lucky 15s in that game against Breakout, if I remember correctly, it was a tie game before going into overtime, and Lucky 15s had like a 5-on-3. They had the advantage. Tilbury got all into the Dorito 4 and then even into the Dorito 5. He got into their side of the field. Plenty of time. There was still like 25 seconds left. And it seemed like he just kind of, once he got to that spot, he just got up and tried to go again. And it was like realizing, okay, I've done a ton of damage. There's still actually more than enough time. Set here, let my guys catch up, and then make my attack, where he just threw his body away. It looked like he got into that spot. He was alive and then just got up and kind of threw his body away, trying to make a reckless attack. And to me, that is going to be their biggest hurdle when they come over to the U.S. Clint Moore sent me a message after the podcast, actually saying, thank you so much for all the love, but fuck, you had to make our guys' heads even bigger by, talking so good about them. These kids are cocky enough. Is essentially
Clint, if you want us to shit on your boys real quick, we will definitely do that, Clint. We got your back, dog. I did it at dinner the other night. I will definitely do it here on the webcast too. I love you, bud. If that's what's required, let us know. You know what I'm saying?
It's just, that is the difference in the US right now. The way the game is played at the highest level is the teams are so controlled. So unfortunately, that game that Lucky 15s were playing at that event, remember, we played the same layout. That game plan does not work against the US pro teams. The lanes are better. The control's better. I don't know if it's teamwork. Maybe it's teamwork is a little bit better, but you just cannot be that aggressive on all fronts and not have one person die. They were literally attacking every single spot, the snake, both wedges, and Dorito 3, and they were all living. That's just unfortunately not likely to happen in the US against the top teams. That's the difference, is there's really good control.
There was 100%. There was definitely some moments that I did see glimmers of that other gear required. It's just an issue of, again, this is why if I look, I know it's difficult, guys. I know it's expensive. I mean, you can sit here and put up whatever you would like to put up as far as like what is the resistance holding you away from getting to the fulfillment of your potential. I get it. I mean, it wasn't when I was young, a case of paintballs, the most I ever spent for a case of paintballs was $120. I literally had to I tried to steal my dad's car to go to my first tryout. And I had to take all the money I had in my life and take a fucking cab down to live my dream. So don't sit there and tell me that you can't get your lazy ass on a train and travel for 3 hours and bring a passport. I'm sorry. I just can't.
Maddie,
I can't take it.
Yeah. But Maddie, that's not even necessary. So what I was going to get to is like my advice to them. My advice to them. Of course. My advice to them is, yes, I agree with you. Travel and play the best teams you can when you can. That's always a bonus. But their deficiency, in my opinion, is that defensive kind of play, or not even defensive, just understanding when to slow down.
The game.
With mindful and thoughtful practice with yourselves, you can do that. You could set up drills to where it's a race to get to the 50, get there as fast as you can, and then you're not allowed to shoot your gun once you get there. See how long you could stay alive. You do simple stuff like that is kind of, it might sound gimmicky, but I've learned a ton from coaching in the last couple years and trying to teach these theories and philosophies to divisional players. I've learned a ton in how to get them to really understand a concept. And when it comes to slowing stuff down and communicating, one of the best things to do that I got away from for a long time because I thought it was gimmicky but we all did this drill when we were younger and it phased itself out, but play a point without a gun. Play a point without a gun where you're forced to communicate the entire time. There's tremendous value in that. And I didn't realize that again until the last couple of years, but it's stuff that I did when I was a kid. I just never thought that it was that beneficial. But for the Lucky 15s, that's what I would do. I would say, okay, guys, Tilbury, Coffee, guys, Greenie, your job, you got to get to the 50-yard line in this point within the first 20 seconds, just like you guys do. Okay, cool. That's a cakewalk. They can do that. Now, once you're there, I need you to stay alive. You're not allowed to shoot your gun. You have to communicate. You have to put stuff together with your team, and you can't shoot your gun for 2 minutes. You just set that structure up, and those players are going to start becoming more comfortable in that spot. They're going to get to that spot quickly. They're going to slow down. They're going to relax. They're going to take a deep breath and look around and communicate. and it's going to just become second nature to them. Go ahead, Tyler.
Totally, dude. And yeah, and what I really love about what you just said there is even what you'll do when you don't have the gun or you don't have the gun for a certain amount of time is you'll realize that you can still apply pressure to the game. You can still move, and just because you don't have a gun that shoots paintballs out downrange, the pressure that I apply to a field with my body positioning on a field is just as important as putting those shots downrange, because what it does is it applies that pressure, say on the left side, and then it opens up chambers through the middle and on the snake side for movement for my players. Yeah. So I'm still doing a lot for the game, facilitating movements off of me not even having a marker and just applying pressure on movements. And then Matty, I love what you said about the drive. It's literally called drive. It's literally called drive, right? I mean, there's no two ways about it. You know what I'm saying? But there's just so much good information being dropped right now in regards to that, and I love those drills as well, Marcelo.
I'm so glad you brought up drills. I have had this conversation so many times in the past 15 or 20 years that I just want to bang my head against the wall sometimes. I'll talk to a young up-and-coming team. This did not happen with the Lucky 15s, but we're just on them right now. So, and anytime that I see potential in somebody, you're going to get criticized more because we see what's possible out of you. And
it's respect.
So yeah, it's a sign of respect. But is that tons of up and coming teams, and I'll be like, okay, well, what are your practices like? Who do you play against teams that are better than you? You know, talk to me about your practices. When you get to your practices, like, does everyone show up on time? Do you stay late? If you can't get a good team to scrimmage, what type of drills do you run? You know, okay, situational awareness drills, what type of drills? I'm getting granular on this as anytime I want to talk to people instead of just glancing over it, because how are you going to get to be as good as Dynasty or Houston Heat or any of these top people if you can't be putting your mind into that combat headspace enough to facilitate growth? So the way to do that, to put it into hyperspeed, is like, you can show up and play points, but if you're just playing points, you're hoping that you find a point of learning where you can pick up something on that. Now, if you're taking a young divisional team and do a ton of situational awareness drills, and you have a Tyler or a Marcelo or, you know, anyone coaching, then they can come in and insert that high paintball IQ. Plug for Marcelo's book. You should go buy it right now. But, you know, is that you can have that moment where it's like, that's where the exponential growth comes from. That's how you take your mind and crack it open and start impregnating into that mind the situational awareness of what's happening and how you can win in those situations. Because if you're just expecting to go and play points, oh, we're just going to go out, we show up, oh yeah, Matty, you know, we show up and we say what's up and everything, we kick it, and then we go out and we play some points against our lower ranked team. You know, we're D3, we play against our D4 guys, and then you know, we just do that for like as long as till we run out of paint, and then we just go crush beers after that. That sounds like an awesome day. That sounds like a great day of paintball. But what are we trying to do here? If we're having a good time, bro, thumbs up. You nailed it. You've aced the test, and it seems like, and you got a smile on your face, you're having a great time. But if you want to be the best paintball team in the world, then that is not how you're going to be the best paintball. Again, it's to each their own, and there are different journeys for everybody. But when people are adamant about how much they want to go crush it, and then tell me an obvious instance of how they are not preparing to crush it, I'm like, well, you know, guys, we can fix some of this here, and we can fix it pretty simply just by, you know, changing what you actually do in practice. So yes, Marcelo, I just feel that there's certain ways that you can hyperspeed development. And this could go, but I feel like some of the pro guys think that they're over drills. Like you had said, oh, it seems kind of corny, but let's take a gun away. Dude, do you think that pro baseball players think it's corny that they're taking grounders at shortstop? No, they're doing bunt drills. Like, no, that these guys are making like king's ransoms in money, but they still do that stuff because that's important stuff to win games, and winning games wins championships. So yeah, I agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. Is that if I don't care where you're at in it, if you're doing like, if you're doing the, again, what are we doing to put ourselves in the best chance of thriving enough to persevere when it gets difficult? And if you're saying like we are doing those things, all right, cool. Then that's one check. You don't have to worry about that. You know, like you did the stuff required so that when you get there, you're like, oh, we could have trained harder for this. You know, like there's a famous quote. It's a boxing quote, and I'm might be slightly butcher this because I just thought of it again, but it goes something like, there are people out there that are about to fight their opponents, knowing that they're not working harder than their opponents. I can't fathom those people. It's like, that you're just trying to get by on talent alone. That you're not working as hard as your opponent. Now, what's fascinating is that sometimes talent does persevere in those situations. John Jones is a perfect example of this. John Jones used to go out and get hammered and do cocaine and be a complete douchebag asshole, raging and living the party lifestyle. And that, it sounds like he had a great time. But he would do that because he was scared to lose. So his manifestation of psychologically being scared to lose was that giving his brain an out. Like we talked about this before, right? Is that our brains are just narrative creating machines. We have opposable thumbs. We can all plan in the future. We know time, sense of time, and we tell each other stories. That's a human being in a nutshell. That's how we conquer planet Earth. So for John Jones, he was so good and so talented. Is what's crazy to think is that if you had a John Jones that didn't do all that, and his mind didn't need that weird thorn in its side, as an out. Maybe who knows how good it could have been, because as it is now, he was probably the greatest light heavyweight ever. And who knows? Anyway, but that's human beings. We're all malleable, we're fallible, and this is just part of dealing with us, especially at an incredibly high level. Anyway, we can go hardcore.
It's all
here,
love
but
for.
Anyway, yeah, sorry.
No, it's all love for paintball, right? That's all three of us are here because in our heart, we just love this game so much. We've been playing since we were youngsters, and it's just always been something that has been an outlet of positivity, of creativity and community, and being able to have something that keeps you really driven in life, right? And we want to make sure that we're driving people that are coming into the pros, that are going to be making the journey from Europe to the United States to play in the Champions Cup, all the details that they're going to need in order to be successful when they make that journey. And it's all
I don't want them to be too
about
successful, though.
Well, we want to see it grow.
They could come over and compete in it. That's cool, but I'm not rooting for you to win.
Well, I mean,
well, of course,
Marcelo.
I don't think anybody's saying that.
Look, I honestly, yes, you guys do want it to be as hard as possible, because the more stout your enemies are, and the more that you can persevere and defeat really strong enemies, then the more badass you are. And then, because at the end of the day, that's all you have. All you have is your look back, and because dude, I've got some jerseys and trophies but all I really have is stories, bro. This is paintball, man. We're not I mean, and even if you get even if let's just say that paintball was the biggest sport on planet Earth. Let's just say that you guys are both like Mike Trout right now. Now, not that baseball is the biggest sport on planet Earth, but Mike Trout's getting paid $500 million to play baseball, bro. He hits a round ball with a round bat, and he's literally just about to print $500 million in the next 10 years. And but let's just say that's the case. Okay, well, cool. Your family doesn't have to do anything for generations, but when, as any rich person who's even, I mean, there's when rich people die, there's a lot of stories of this, and they realize that money doesn't really mean what they thought it meant when they're on the way out into the abyss. And I've done a lot of wedding ceremonies, and one of the and I might have said this on the last one, but if I can't remember, but it's so important that I think about this often. If it's true in the wedding ceremony, I'm like, if it's true that when you die, your life flashes before your eyes, then the last story that you're ever going to hear or see is your story. So you better make it a good one. And then in the wedding ceremony, I twist that up into, and that's what we're doing here. We're turning a good story into a great story by merging these two lives into one, et cetera, et cetera. But, that's, I've always thought about that. The reason why I put that in there is that, and then we hear about a lot of these near-death experiences. Well, people will say, yeah, my life flashed before my eyes, and their entire, 50 years, or if they had a heart attack or got hit by a car and they're 35, or even if they're older, and the life just starts flooding into you in that massive DMT rushes, it's
just gonna say that,
as that's going down, but as your third eye is just pumping the the portal into your
wide
consciousness open. Anyway, but so life flashes before your eyes. So that's the thing. So even if you guys are sitting on $500 million, yeah, you could die going oh, dude, my grandkids and gonna do whatever they want, boom, and you're dead. But still, all that you got out of this life were the stories, because literally that's the last thing that you get. It's literally the last thing that you get to hear or see is your story. So, it's
when it's what's left to live on, right? Like that story is what's left to live on after you. That
Like
that is how you can
the second
create
death.
an eternal. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. The second death is the last time your name is spoken. You know, so you want to try to make that as prolonged as possible. You know, leave a legacy, leave something worth remembering, and that doesn't have to be big and magnificent. It doesn't mean you have to do crazy things. That could be your family can speak of your greatness and how you know, as far as fundamentals and things that you taught the family and did for the family. That could, you know, that could be transcended down through many a generations. It doesn't matter what level, but that's how you live on, you know, beyond this physical realm.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, a lot of people argue like that's why we're here is to replicate. So, you know, like, yeah, I mean, and I always tell anyone that's ever having a good, I don't say this to everybody, but people that I know and love, that I know well, that I know are really good people, when they get pregnant, that's the first thing that I'll say to them. I was like, hey man, the easiest way to make the world a better place is for good people to produce more good people. So I'm so happy that you guys are going to have a kid, because you're the type of people that could be a really awesome mom or dad, you know, depending on the situation. But yeah, and then again, it's just, that's why I love this game, because a lot of people, you know, like I never had a brother. Like I don't have a brother. I don't have a blood brother. I have a sister and I love her to death and we're very close, but I didn't get to have a brother. And I had two boy cousins, one of which I'm a lot closer than the other, because he's a month older than I am, but he lives in NorCal, and you know, we kind of went two different ways. He's a great dude. He actually created you guys know the Nest thermostat? Yeah, he
Yeah.
created that. He made that. He like made the housing for the Nest
Whoa.
thermostat. He also made the first housing for the iPods. Like he was one of the Apple, like, so he went and did that. So he's like incredibly successful, and I love him to death. He's a good dude, but it's not like we're super close. Anyway, so I don't have any brothers, but with paintball, I have like dozens of brothers, dude, you know? And it's so again, it's like we talked about
Yeah.
gifts of the game. So
Yeah.
but yeah,
That's right,
so
man.
I just want to kind of take this a little bit to maybe talk about the Breakout Spa dudes, because they did win the tournament. And again, dude, props to the Lucky 15s guys. You were the main story. But I just love the chip on their shoulder. Like I was talking to Spencer at the end, because Spencer stayed there to crush beers with everyone at the end. Like Spencer was literally there till the end of the tournament, dude. Like that kid's a spark plug. I would vouch for that kid to play on an American team if he wanted to get some more spins and somebody was willing to fly him out. But he's a wild maniac for sure, who's super fun. But like that team is just, good luck, guys. I really hope that they definitely should be finishing top 3. But Breakout Spa beat them, you know, so everyone kept asking what's going to happen when Lucky 15s get drug into the deep water and their game plan doesn't work. And then Breakout Spa showed up, but Breakout Spa was so legit because the combo of Nick Ripple, who won the MVP, and Quentin Duchesne. Like Nick Ripple had this awesome read where Mason Hines is running for it, and it's like the game is at hand, and they just like, it was a super dramatic moment. If you guys haven't seen it,
This was the point to go into overtime.
it was the point.
Or no,
Was
it the point that goes into overtime? Because I thought that was
I can't remember. I haven't gone back and watched it, and I was living in the moment, so I can't remember the exact moment.
Yeah.
But
Nick
Ripple, he beat Mason Hines in there, and poor Mason was just crushed by it.
Right.
But everyone in that start, so they picked up Jesse Stevens. They had Skinny Kevin Brettauer as the coach, and then but their entire roster was legit. But the combo of Duchesne and Nick Ripple on the Snake side, like obviously we wouldn't get a Jesse Stevens for. I mean, it would be interesting to see how they would do in a legit NXL event.
Well, I gotta be honest. I mean, I love Jesse. I think he's had some great events for X Factor, but I don't think he played that great at that event in Europe. I think you know, it was kind of, you were calling his name a lot, getting shot early on that.
He did get shot a lot, but in his defense, and we talked about this afterwards, because I asked him, I'm like, look, dude, you did have some big points, because he went on offense quite a bit, but he was doing a job over there. This is what he told me, at least, you know, and he's not really the job doer type dude. And that D side was it was more potent in Europe than it was in the States. Maybe with the limited paint, people weren't really, and then maybe just not as good at shooting off the break. I mean, that could honestly be it. You know, it's kind of tough to say, but that might have been it. Just because you get used to dealing with the limited amount of paint. So maybe in practice they're not railing off that many off the break shot drills, but for whatever reason, more people were making it into D1 off the break than I feel like I saw in the States. And that became a little bit more of a potent side early. I was using the boxing metaphor quite a bit, where that was the jab, and then the snake side was the overhand right, but then the counter punch on the D side was the left hook, and then you would have the middle, because a lot of guys constantly were getting into those into the wedges, but then either getting shot out of those spots or, you know, whatever, for whatever reason. But that was where it would that was like kind of the uppercut. Sometimes it would pop off earlier than later from there, but just the thing I want to say about Breakout Spa is that the combo of Quentin Duchesne and Nick Ripple on the snake side was badass. And then their owner, Axel, had some really good points. And then it was just kind of like a fun, like Hendricks had some good points, and it was a pretty good. And then Alan Golding was there, and Alan Golding used to play for the Ironman, and he played kind of lights out as the 2, kind of doing your role, Marcelo. I mean, he kind of played your role, you know, depending on what the game plan would be, but he was shooting a lot of bodies on the break. He was filtering in behind his guys. He was winning games in the scramble. He was winning, you know, chaotic moments for his squad. It kind of reminded me of a lot of how you've excelled in your role. So that really helped them win, you know, which is kind of funny because you really need a guy like that. Like, that's, every team needs a dude like Marcelo or Alan or whoever it's going to be, guys. Like, Tyler, you also play this really interesting role, you know, that's kind of a little bit different because it's offensive minded some points, but also you do play like a hardcore 2 sometimes too. You know, it's really fun to watch because, and you both are masterful in one-on-ones and low body situations. And we saw a lot of, it would have been really cool to have you guys both there, because that field was just producing constant craziness in like the scramble. It was like constantly 2-on-3. Yeah. It was constantly 3-on-3. And then a dude would drop over here, and everyone had to figure it out. And like, you guys thrive in those moments where you're reading the variables and you're like, oh shit, okay, well, that dude just dropped, and then now I got to move to here because I can shoot that guy, and then now I'm going to turn. So I mean, we saw
that's fun paintball right there.
The scramble ball is my favorite part of the game, where you gotta it comes down to a 2-on-2, 3-on-3 kind of thing, and it's whoever reads and reacts quickest is usually going to win that point. That's what I love, because, you know, experience prevails in those situations, right? That's where experience shows itself, you know, being able to assess like exactly where everybody's at, where the weakness is.
And I feel like I just saw, you know, again, I'm trying to be honest here, because I don't feel that not being honest is going to help the Europeans in any way, shape, or form. But I just feel that there's a certain level of crisp decision making that happens at the elite level in the States in the scramble. And I was just seeing a little bit less of that over there. Guys just dying in, like, it would, more low body situations and more instances that should not be pulled off were happening this past weekend than I saw on the exact same layout in Philadelphia. I mean, Marcelo, you're nodding your head because you said you watched a lot of that tournament.
Yeah.
You're probably seeing the
Greg
same
101
thing.
on
Again,
4.
I'm just,
that's insane.
Yes. Greg 101 on 4. Yes.
It never happened.
And even though we're getting Alex to make 1-on-2 and 1-on-3 coins, for him to, why would he make 1-on-4 coins? It happens.
That's the only 1-on-4 I think I've ever seen in a tournament.
No, it definitely
does it. A 1-on-4 happens once or twice a year.
Maybe once or twice a year there will be something like, maybe, I'd say like once a year. There's like a 1-on-4 in all the paintball that I'll watch. Yes, in all the paintball that I'll watch. I feel like, Tyler, haven't you pulled off? I feel like you both have pulled off 1-on-4s in the past couple seasons. Like, I can't remember
that I have.
There's been some crazy stuff that's gone on out there.
Yeah, well, it's one of those. And now I'm including moments like this where it's like, and then all of a sudden a bunch of dudes walk off, but then also I'm trying to figure out how, even though it looked like Team A, we'll just say Dynasty Heat, and don't get mad at me if I'm like one team wins or the other. But, you know, so you'll look over and all of a sudden it'll be kind of car crashy, but only for one team initially. So you look over and you're like, wow, holy shit. Why did Dynasty just lose 3 dudes? And then all of a sudden you'll look over, and then, you know, then another guy will drop here, but then another guy makes a quick move. Just one of those really bizarre moments where I'm looking and I'm like, okay, I think that guy just shot that guy and that guy, and then made the move, but then he's now, everyone else had died. So and then they forgot that he's there, and then he shot those other guys. Now, was that a legit 1-on-4? I don't know. It's like there's a lot of chaotic moments in the sport like that where it's just happening so fast. So sometimes it's tough to tell.
It sounds like I'm going to need to get one of these crispy new 1-on-2 coins, because the last tournament, I had a 1-on-2 at the end there. So I'll pick one of those up from you. And then I never got my coin for the Thomas Kim 1-on-1, like not last tournament, the one before that. So
Tyler,
I got two.
I need some coins too.
Yeah,
okay.
I had that Russian Legion. It was like technically a 1-on-2. Shot Dalton, and then I think it was Kirill, and then
was it
went out to the corner and
technically a 1-on-2? We're going down to that
technically.
situation. Yes, technically a 1-on-2. I get a couple of that sometimes where people are like, hey, was that a coin that I got from that 1-on-1? Because it was like technically a 1-on-1. I'm like, did you know you were on a 1-on-1? The guy would be like, nah, I didn't know. And then, you know, like, do you think that dude knew he was in a 1-on-1 too? Be like, yeah, he didn't know. But then the way,
dude, I love your job and your passion for this game, man. Yeah.
No, as a keeper of the coins, I have to have these conversations. It's unfortunate conversations I have to have with people sometimes.
Well,
but
send me my
you can't
coins,
just be giving willy-nilly coins out for whatever, bro. If the
it's a one. I won a 1-on-2. What do you mean?
Okay, I'm just saying. Like, I have to ask. Don't get mad at me for asking the questions, dude. We have to keep.
I got some coins here. Look, we got black coins in there. We got 2 black coins. We got a bunch of golds. I got a couple of reds.
Stash.
I know, dude. We're stashing here, baby.
Yeah, that's a legit stash right there.
It's funny. I don't challenge,
but
I don't challenge people. People challenge me, and then I just say, okay, all right, I'll take your coin. All right.
Well, who did you get the blacks from?
Roy Richards, which was that was a fun one because it was at the ICC. And he said, between me and Ryan in our last prelim game where we had to win and we had to have a certain amount of bodies alive, he said, whoever shoots more out of you and Ryan gets my black coin. That was the competition. And I went down we're in the Super Woods ball field. I went down the left tape and was just smoking fools. And to beat Ryan and get
Roy's
the black coin is pretty special. Yeah, Roy's the best.
There we go.
He's the absolute.
He just moved.
Absolute legend.
He just moved to the East Coast, and he's super juiced that he's over on the East Coast with the East Coast paintball scene, and he's going to be running around all the big games and having fun out there. So he's really excited.
Yeah, no, Roy Richard is he's a god among men. I love him.
Yes,
he was my rock star at my wedding. Yeah, dude, I can't say enough good things about that dude for sure. He was my roommate back in the day. That's so Roy to give up one of his legendary black coins, not in a competition where he's like going against someone. It's he's on Dynasty at the time, right? You know, he's on your team.
Yes.
So he wants us to win. I got my, he's like, I'm 45 years old and I need, even though Ryan's 40, but Ryan's still like a slaughtering people. But anyway, and Roy's still good. You know, but he's like, look, I want to win this tournament. What do I need to do to win this tournament? You know what? I'm going to hey, Ryan, Marcelo, you're fucking people up right now. Here's a black, I got a black coin here, which you guys don't have because as soon as you retire, you're going to get them, but that probably won't be for a long time. So I will give you a black coin to whoever kills the most people. That's great. That's very Roy.
Yeah, 100%.
Strategic.
Strategic. He's a very smart man, you know. He's a good leader.
Legend.
He's like,
he is
a
legend.
This is going to be good incentive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, yes, when so it's up to Alex because a lot of people kept coming up to me after 1-on-1s and where they were in a low body situation where they had won a 1-on-3 or a 1-on-2. And then they'd say, oh, do I get 3 coins for that? And I'm like, okay, look, guys, I don't know how much more clearly I have to explain this. This is a coin that is only in this instance, in this moment, for a 1-on-1 victory. Do you still think that you deserve 3 coins? And then sometimes people would be like, well, yeah, I won. You know, I'm like, okay, am I speaking Russian right now? This is a 1-on-1 coin. When did the 1-on-1 happen that you could have won this coin? And they'd be like, well, I shot those 2 dudes and then it came down to 1. I'm like, oh, there it is. Okay, here's your 1 coin. Anyway, so this was happening enough. See, Marcelo's not buying it. He's like, no, you should give me 3 coins for that.
No, I'm not. I'm with you. It should be more.
I'm just saying, you had a smirk on your face. It looked like, you know,
I'm
like,
laughing because the incompetence of some of the players, you know, saying I'm with you,
pretty
brother.
Simple.
Jesus.
Guys, I'm just saying you had the the smirk on your face that I've seen sometimes you don't agree with me because you don't always agree with me, which I love that about you. Anyway, but it would just, I get that sometimes, and people, I'm like, no, guys, look, and if you have a problem with it, go take it up with Alex Frazier. I'm down to argue with people, but look, bro, I'm just the keeper of the coins. Alex made these coins. It's CoinDuel. Go to CoinDuel.com. You can get hooked up there. But I would not be doing my job as the keeper of the coins. Anyway, so then we were in Cabo doing the family vacay with like the Fraziers and the Hunters and the Takamotos. And I was
playing a little golf.
Yeah, we did play a little golf. I got some more coins.
There we go.
My hoard of gold coins off of Alex. It's great. Anyway, but yeah, so he's decided to make the 1-on-2 and 1-on-3 coins. So props to Alex because this is his brainchild and he's a genius. And the fact that he's down to pony up and make those coins is a very cool thing. So yeah, I just think it's great because again, it's just these little elements, these little nuances and facets to the game just make it interesting. So yeah,
we need more.
Yeah,
we need more. Just as much paintball influenced connectivity as we possibly can muster up. That's what we need in today's day and age of paintball. All of us coming together, rallying, and getting this game where it needs to be. But Matty, I do want to, with the European circuit, are there any like finishing thoughts on teams or any ideas that you have about what's going to transpire when they do come over to the United States, or who we're going to see when it comes to November?
Yeah, just to kind of round it out, and I did mention this before, but it was so cool on Sunday morning to sit there and see the top 8 teams, and each one of those top teams, I really thought you could based on what I was seeing, because historically I could say, oh, this team should not be beating this team, or the roster, like this team, but the way that things had played out, there was all 8 teams I felt had a legit chance to win. And that was something that you will not normally hear come out of anyone's mouth, to be honest. You're going to have a couple favorites, but it was really impressive. So it was Lucky 15s, Gladiatori, Paris Camp Carnage, Toulouse Tauntauns, Breakout Spa, Joy Division, Verse Factory, team of Blake was on, and the Raiders. So just real quick to give the 20-second summary, Lucky 15s murdered everyone, went 4-0 with a plus 20. So you got to put them as a favorite. Gladiatori had, Slava, had Kyle Berry. They looked really good in the prelims as well, too. Paris Camp Carnage was undefeated in the prelims. They were playing a very, hybrid game. They had beat the Tauntauns, and then they knocked the Tauntauns out of the tournament. Tauntauns, it's the Tauntauns. I don't really need to tell people why the Tauntauns should have a chance to win a tournament in Europe. Same with Breakout Spa. Joy Division, same there. Legendary team, and they were scrappy in the prelims. Verse Factory with Blake, a bunch of dudes I've never heard of from Poland, and they went undefeated in the prelims, and then they beat they rolled in, then they beat lost to the Raiders, sorry. But yeah, Verse Factory was kind of like an unknown, but the way that they were playing, I was like, well, dude, they went undefeated in the prelims, and Blake is slaughtering people, so you can't tell me that they beat everyone in their bracket and don't have a chance to win with Blake on it. And then the Raiders won the last event. So that's the top 8 teams. I'm like, dude, this is great. This is super entertaining day of paintball. So that's kind of the state of pro European paintball right now. Firm had also made it into Sunday, and they had lost both games by mercy rule on Friday, and then won both games by mercy rule on Saturday to go in 2-2 with an even spread. So that was interesting. And then PP Arena Pilsen from the Czech Republic were the other team that made it into Sunday. So it was pretty interesting, but
you gotta love that.
Yeah. So, dude, it was just fascinating. But the Paris Camp Carnage was very scrappy. They were very inspiring out there. Gilbert on the D side, Clarenbeau up the center. He needs to tighten it up a little bit. Geiger is how I pronounce it, but it's pronounced as Giger for them. And he was really good in the snake. And then, dude, Alexander Pizan pulled off a 1-on-3, and he was absolutely filthy out there. That guy's legit. He's played for the Russians before.
Pizan is good.
Yeah, dude, Pizan's really good. So Carnage, they look better than the Tauntauns, man. They really, they beat them, but it was a close game. It was 4-3, but
the Tauntauns are going through a bit of a rebuild, Matty. In the first event, they had Colombo and Axel from the original Tauntaun, or not original, but the most recent dominant Tauntauns.
Yes.
And a lot of the other players are pretty new. They're good. They practice a lot. They train a lot. A lot of the veteran Tauntaun players are still part of the camp and help them, prepare for the events. But they're going through a little bit of a rebuild.
Yeah.
And Camp Carnage has been good for, even when the U.S. teams were allowed to go in full over to Europe, Carnage would be that team that would they were kind of like a level where if you were a top team and you drew them, you're like, this isn't as easy as a game as you think, just because nobody maybe knows their names or they don't have any superstar players on their team that are, that people recognize, but they'll beat you. They play good team paintball. They have good fundamentals. They do a good job of shooting on the break, and they just, if you sleep on them, they will beat you. And they've only gotten better. And it's, they have the same group. I don't think they've lost anybody in the last couple of years. They have the same group. So, I could see them, definitely going a little bit further in one of these events too.
Yeah. And, the Tauntauns also had a light line, 6 dudes, but Pierre Chauve, in the Snake, he's pretpretty legit. Miramont, Thomas.
Yeah, because Colombo.
There's 2 Thomas, but no Colombo. And then, from back in the day, no Louis Villot. So, the Tauntauns, we knew them to be a team that could win and
Kevin
beat the best
Klum.
teams. Yeah, Kevin Klum. They don't have those guys. But some of these other dudes, they're getting close, man. Like, I was pretty impressed with
Absolutely.
Pierre. Thomas, I'm going to butcher the hell out of his last name. He's got... it's like SZPYTMA. Good luck, everyone, trying to pronounce that one.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I did have it was just Tyler from he really helped me out a lot, though. He's super awesome dude, does like MMA and paintball, and
Venom.
Yeah, from Venom. Tyler's great. And he speaks fluent English. So he was helping me out, kind of giving me some info and helping me pronounce some of these French names. But Carnage was impressive. Breakout Spot obviously won the tournament. Joy Division, dude, like Carl Samuelson is, even though he's a dick, I love you, Carl. But back in the day, ever since he was a kid, we used to call him Carl Scandal, as in like the scandal, because he would be a little bit of a wild maniac. But now he's old. He's an older gentleman now, and he's got kids. He's married. But he still kind of lets his asshole flag fly when he comes to play paintball. For instance, he comes. So when I walk off and I see the Joy guys, and the rest of them are just, no pun intended, like a joy to see. They're always so fun, and they're all pretty intelligent. They all speak English fluently. And then Carl is kind of sitting over. They're all frustrated. They got knocked out of the tournament. He's like, "So what is this?" With the heavy Norwegian accent, and he's just like, "So what is this?" What is this? What is this coin? What is this red coin, Matty? I'm supposed to get? I don't care about it. I don't even want it. And I'm just like, okay, Carl. And then, so let me get this straight. You don't know about it, but you already hate it. And then all the Joy guys start laughing and that's pretty standard, Carl. And he's like, well, what is it? Anyway, so I explain what it is, and then he's still kind of being a dick about it. He's like, I don't even want it. Just give it to somebody else. And then as I walk away, he's like, so when do I get my coin? I'm like, okay, Carl. Yeah, all right, I'll get you your coin. But Carl was on fire. Carl Samuelson is a beast out there. Fabian is also...
Fabian is really good.
Dude, Fabian's so good. He looks like an extra from the show The Vikings. If you've ever seen The Vikings, you see Fabian in real life, you've probably seen him storming the castle at Paris. It was just in the Viking show because he definitely looks like one of those dudes. Fabian's a beast on the snake side, and then Knut's very, very consistent. He's he's calming presence on the team. He's kind of like a Clint more for the Lucky 15s. Knut does a similar thing. And then they had Kim and what's his name, Victor on the D side. But yeah, dude, Carl and Fabian were just beasts out there. If the Joy Division boys could just stop getting penalties, then it would be a lot better for them, and they'd have a potential chance to get in, and maybe win the bye. It would not surprise me if Joy Division won the next event, because they just need a little bit more survivability, a little less penalties, and they weren't. It's not right there, but they have enough potency on the push that if they played cleaner, I would have been to see what they could have shown if they had played cleaner. And then
I think they could win an event.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, especially with what I saw with how good they played in Germany. So Matty, what's the setup heading into the final event over there, the Champions Cup, right outside of Paris? the team that wins that event, they get a first round, they get a bye all the way to the top 8. Is that the case?
That's what I'm being told. Yes. And I'm going to have
So, okay.
Yeah, no, I'm just real quick. I'm going to do a show with Tom Cole to go through the finer points in the next couple weeks. We also have the All-Star game to talk about too.
Yes.
But yeah, from what I had heard from Tom was that if you win Paris, again, don't quote me on this, but this is what I remember, is that if you win Paris, the European team, then you get a bye into the top 8 and then at the Champions Cup. And then and then the top 3 will be there representing Europe in the Champions Cup. And then
amazing.
Yeah, and I think,
wow.
And then I think we're gonna have also teams from South America. I don't think Asia is ready, from what I hear. I don't think they were asked by Tom to have representation there, but they were like, give us another year, I think is what they said. I'm not, again, don't quote me on this. I was sleepy. I'm going off of what I heard from that situation again. But
my understanding is
we will have a show with Tom to clarify all this soon.
Yeah, sorry, Matty. My understanding is paintball in Asia is still really difficult right now because of COVID. I think they're still getting hit kind of hard. I've been talking to Acha, Izawan, sorry if I butchered that last name, my man Acha. He's the man that runs the World Paintball Championships. And, I was asking him like, hey, things are kind of opening up. Are you going to have an event? He runs an amazing event at the end of the year over in Thailand, right on the beach. It's gorgeous. And so I've been excited to get back there. And he's like, man, we're still really struggling over here. So, first and foremost, hope everybody is doing okay and getting through it. But it does seem like it's going to be a little bit longer before they get back, playing paintball and in full swing.
Yeah. And that's kind of that was the story behind the scenes, right? Is that, I mean, honestly, I'm a fan of this Champions Cup thing because I would like to have, I mean, to be honest, a little bit as an American and somebody that went over to Europe to play a lot over there as we kind of started the mercenary wave with Joy Division back in 2001. And so if I take my non-bias hat off and I put my Californian, like, American pro hat on, like, I want these people to come from all over the world so that the Americans can smash them. But if I put my Grow paintball hat on, I would like them to, for us to open it up to everyone, because there needs to be a place where everyone can come and test themselves. That's what this is about, dude. This, like, make no mistake.
That's what it is. Yes.
Paintball is about a test, right? So yeah, I mean, I'm a human being. I'm from San Diego, California, and I played for the teams that I played for, and I know the people that I know, and I've watched the paintball I've watched. But yes, and I had an amazing time over there trying to, tell the best story I possibly can based on the information that I have about the European teams. But I kept getting asked, well, how would we do in the States? And I mean, who knows until two people square up? We don't know. But this is not heavyweight boxing. There's not really a puncher's chance in paintball. Like, when the format that we play, like, you don't have the chance to knock someone unconscious. This is more of a gentlemanly game than that. That's not the case. So, I would love to see the Lucky 15s play over here. I would love to see Breakout Spa, which were the two. And then even to me, the teams that made the biggest splash to me over there from a story standpoint, just based on how I watched them play, was Breakout Spa, the Lucky 15s, and Paris Camp Carnage. Because Paris Camp Carnage barely lost to the Lucky 15s, who were the Lions out there with their broadsword running crazy all over the field. And they had a much more diverse look at it, and they drugged the Lucky 15s into deep water, but the Lucky 15s answered. And then Breakout Spa beat the Raiders in overtime by 1. Anyway, but so yes, because it is a worldwide thing. I like for there to be a place where everyone in the world can come and test themselves, because that's what this is about at the end of the day, but we do need to tell the world, like, hey, this is, like we talked about, guys, there are ways to supercharge your ability to play this game. And here are the ways that you could possibly arm yourselves for the battle that's about to go down, so, and I love the fact that they're, it sucks for guys that can't go over there and play anymore, but I love that the Europeans have it to themselves now. You can get a couple mercenaries here or there, but, like, just let those dudes play over there for a while. Let it develop.
It's just going to hurt them when it comes to Champions Cup. That's the thing. I mean, that's a decision that I just personally still don't agree with. I understand the move. I just hard for me to agree with it. Many reasons why I've talked about on the show before. Don't need to get too deep into it, but it's only going to hurt them when they come and play the Champions Cup. And they have not seen that level all season.
I understand, but
or at least just give us one more. That way PTG can hit the road.
Straight up. Let us have 2 per team,
tight. I will. Look, I love you guys, but I will agree to disagree again. As much as again,
just one more.
As much as I would like to me, it's okay. What are we doing here, right? Is it pro?
So we're gonna get into this then.
Sure, we can definitely argue about this. I just think
we're gonna get into this.
Cool.
Then.
I know
Awesome.
it sounds like you're pretty rabid and just stoked on this argument. So let's argue about it, bro. I'm down. Let's go.
Baby.
So, but here's my point is this, is that I think that having a place just to see like I said, the top 8 teams all there's no impact, there's no heat. Okay. So every single team in the top 8, the vibe, everyone likes to talk about vibes these days and energy. When I show up and I'm talking to all these different teams and the amount of joy they have in their soul, and because they know, like I know, that in a different universe, it wasn't Breakout Spa that won that tournament. It's Lucky 15s. In another universe, it's Paris Camp Carnage. Again, I'm not bullshitting when I'm saying that there's a legit chance that those top 8 teams had some bit of a chance to win in some universe, some way, shape, or form, right? Now, if Edmonton Impact's there, or Dynasty's there, or Houston Heat's there, then it's a completely different fucking story, because now they don't have that joy in their soul, knowing that they can go and beat that team. And yeah, you're right. Okay, they're not being tested against the best. But if I'm trying to fight my older brother, because again,
that's not my argument.
What's up?
That's not my argument.
Well, let me finish mine. So my point is that my point is that look, if you're trying to fight the bigger, stronger dude, it's like, where's the joy in that? So it's like, give them time to let them develop. And they may not see it, but there's going to be 1 or 2 pros over there, and they can watch it on the webcast. They can come over here in the Champions Cup and see what's up. And then people can stop asking me about how I think that they're going to do, because we'll find out. So if your guys are out there wondering, and the question is, how are they going to do? Let's just suspend disbelief for a little bit and wait a couple months, and then we can all show up and actually see when the paintballs are shot against each other in anger. I think it's good for the growth of the game over there, because the joy and that I saw on their faces of them knowing that they have a chance to actually win this tournament is pretty cool. Because before, that was not the case. It's like, if you're going to go play Impact or Heat, and I mean, it sucks to say, but or the Expendables at the time, it's like Expendables made it out of the wild card round and won in Prague. So that's pretty amazing. I'm just saying it's a difficult. I think it's hard to cultivate the garden of pro paintball over there if you already have these like stout trees that are blocking out the sunlight, which is, I think, the metaphor that I would use. All right, now it's your turn.
What do you think is a better story? Breakout beating Lucky 15s in the final, a team that
or Breakout losing to Dynasty by mercy rule,
is that Breakout knocking out Edmonton Impact in the semifinals. What's a better story?
Well, of course, but
no, just
do I think that
what's a better story?
What's a better story? Okay, that's a great story. Yes. Breakout knocking out Edmonton Impact in the semifinals is a great story. But as a betting man,
happened.
I have to sit there and ask myself, how many times do I think that?
But it did happen. It's happened over there. It's happened.
Marginal.
That is what. That is what. Okay. In my mind. That is what is like. Quentin Duchesne, you're like, holy shit, he's really good. To me, that is what made Quentin Duchesne's name over there. Because against those teams, he has stunted over and over. Alan Golding, that's why he got his shot on the Ironman. Because against those teams, he has stunted over and over. Those opportunities to come and play in the U.S. and have your European pros become superstars happens because those players show out against the U.S. teams in the European leagues.
Okay. If Heat and Impact and whoever else and 3 different American pros get to go over and play in Europe, How many times in 4 events do you think that a European team wins?
Wins, not many, and that could continue to be a long road. But the reality, look, again, we got to think about this in the long term. They were getting better and better
That's
and
my
better
point.
and better.
You gotta think about this in the long term.
I'm saying, I don't think Breakout was so close. They had been to the finals. Breakout was so close to winning an event the way things were. They just never quite got over the hump and actually won, but they were so close. They were probably the closest, European team. But it's happened.
Again, it hurts my soul that this is how it is, but because I would like it to just be, look,
I'll take that.
You want to do
That's
this
a small
thing
victory.
again? I suckered Alex into this. I'm just no, it's not. But
victory.
I'm just trying to placate you so you can move the fuck
We
on.
can move on.
But
we can move on.
But
You guys went the distance. You went the
distance.
I'm just saying that okay. So yes, woo, there we go. Yeah. All right. Look, we should look, Marcelo. We will continue this argument at lunch.
Of course.
Probably next week at some point. But we should probably move on. We don't have to. We can continue.
I do want to say bravo to the European circuit. We can't wait to see the top 3 teams that are going to step up into the Champions Cup. And good luck to everybody out there who's competing. And, I say we just bump it up 50%, meet in the middle, and get 2 players on each team. And then PTG is on our way.
I know that I am rooting for the Europeans to take down the Americans. Anytime they were playing Heat, Impact, I'm fucking Team Europe. Right? Period. That's just the way it went over there. And so, when it would happen, I would be so stoked.
Can we get you, Tyler? Can we get you on Joy Division?
Dude,
who are you going to?
That would be major.
Paris? I would like.
I
actually
had an opportunity to play for Joy Division in Malaga, Spain, the year that the volcano erupted. You remember that year?
Yep.
Yeah. So I was in the air. I was in the air. They've printed the Harmon Joy Division jersey. I'm on my way. You know what I mean? And I'm in the air flying right about to reach over probably Canada, coming into Alaska, or I'm sorry, into the North Pole and everything. And they're like Antarctica, and there's a volcano that's gone off. And the pilot's like, there's a volcano that's gone off. We're trying to go for it. We're going to try and make it in. I'm like, what? Try and make it in? No, you turn. Because I know enough about volcanoes and planes to know that's a bad mixture. I've done my research, and that's a terrible concoction. So he's like, we're going in for it. And I'm just, oh my God, we're going for it. We're going in. And then come to find out the whole tournament gets kind of closed off, and everybody's kind of trapped there for a little bit because that volcano just had volcanic ash over the whole entire country. So shout out to Joy Division. Hopefully we can make that dream come back to life, and we'll get the Lundqvist brothers are coming too. We're going to have a whole deal.
Take that.
Yeah.
We'll take that.
We'll find a way. We'll find a way.
Yeah. All right. So should we get into some questions, or
yes.
I feel like we've done. I really wanted to do before we kind of tail off here. I just wanted to make sure we did the due justice, because as much as we do focus on the United States, because this is where we live, this is where we're from, and this is our main coverage. Paintball, as you guys well know, and Marcelo, man, you be getting all over the place. I mean, just got back from Australia, and I see guys like Harrison Fry and Ryan and living with whatever. Paintball is really a worldwide thing.
Yes.
And people in the United States need to understand that. It really is a cool thing.
Totally.
Everywhere there is. So if you get good enough at paintball, even if you're not good enough to play
one more point
in the pro league in the United States, if you meet the right people, you could definitely get your travel paid for to go play for some of these other teams. And that's a thing. Dude.
Absolutely.
That's actually a route. That's a route people have taken to become good enough.
Less likely now.
Pros.
That's my point. Okay, so I just thank you so much. That was actually a big argument that I would make early on with this. Yes, just one last thing, and then I'm done.
No, it's fine, bro.
We
can spend our next.
No, this
hour,
is the last.
I will argue with you
This is my last thing
until I put the coffin nail in on you, dog.
Well,
let's
coffin
go.
nail's not even close, my man. You better start working my coffin nail out before you put mine in. So
okay, I got a crowbar for that.
So yeah. What is one of the coolest things about our job as professional paintball players. It's certainly not $1 million contracts. What is the coolest and most alluring thing?
Did you set this up like it was going to be some giant?
Come on, man. It's the travel. It's the travel, right?
The travel.
So
yeah, I got it.
The more players from the U.S. that you have that are traveling to Europe, traveling these amazing places, getting to experience these amazing things in foreign lands because of paintball. You've got Ronnie Dizon with the Dizon docs. He's not over in Europe now. He was, before COVID, before Heat couldn't go there. Dizon docs had videos of all the European stuff. Tens of thousands of views on that.
Okay. So what's more important? Go ahead.
Yeah, what's more important? I think So we always talk about marketing what we do, making people give a shit. That's your thing, right, Matty? People have to give a shit.
Yes.
People aren't going to give a shit about what we do because of our salary. That's for damn sure. But they might give a shit what we do. I know when I'm on an airplane and I'm on my way over to these places and I'm talking to the businessman next to me up there in first class because Delta hooked it up with the upgrade since I was 22 years old because of paintball. And I have that conversation with them. They go, oh my God, that's cool. I had no idea. I want to take my son. I want to try this. You're traveling for paintball? That's insane. That's the same. That right there is what we should do a better job of showcasing. We should do a better job of highlighting those opportunities, those experiences, and we're limiting it.
I understand where you're coming from, and I don't necessarily completely disagree with you, but if I could steelman the other side's position, is that, so what you're saying is that you as the American Superstar Pro coming over or the Superstar team's ability to utilize their entire experience as a lever to make the whole world give a shit is more important than having, say, the French or the Swedish or the German or the Italian, or just insert any specific country's players here for their ability to try to cultivate their own scene and their own legends and their own pros so that they can utilize their local people to make those people give a shit about their pros. Because you know what? Yeah, maybe it's just, that it's not as good as the American scene, but it's good enough. So, and it's fun because, like, if you look at the competition that we just saw, that was a fucking fun ass tournament to watch. There was a lot of cool stuff that happened there. So even though there was one American pro out there on each team, I still was, as a paintball fan, as not just an American paintball fan, but if I put I'm a paintball fan hat on, I was stoked that Impact and Heat and Dynasty weren't there, because that got to cultivate all these local stories like that I would not be able to talk about if the American pros were just smashing these dudes. Because to be honest, and people keep asking me, so I feel like it's a good time to bring this up in this argument. That's what would happen. I'm tired. Let's not beat around the bush. The American pros are better than everyone else, which is why we've made this rule that the American pros can't go and play in these leagues. So I'm just saying that. So you're saying that your ability to come over and smash these people is more important worldwide for paintball, for them to play against each other and cultivate their own heroes. So after they train all year long, they can go and then contend against you guys, just like, say, the American amateurs went and played against professional Russians in 1980 in the Olympics and shocked the world. You know what I'm saying?
So no, that's not what I'm saying though. I think it's actually,
what are you
I
saying
think
then?
it's actually,
that's what it sounds
I
like.
think it's inherently belittling to say that they cannot beat us, or to say that it's more important for us to go and smash them. Those words I didn't say. I don't think that's what would happen. I was part of the league in 2019, 18, 17 over there in Europe, where the European teams were very competitive and they did send top level teams home on Sunday. To me, that was always the greatest story. That was what made me respect those players, is like, holy shit, hey, we have to bring our A game against PP Arena, against Breakout, against Joy Division, because if we don't, we're going to lose this game. How
many European teams won those tournaments?
I could answer that easily. I mean, Tauntaun's only won a few out of them, but that does not mean there was not tremendous.
How many other teams other than the Tauntauns?
But that's not my point. Like, there was tremendous progress.
That's the point. That may not be your point, but that's the point.
No, that's
the point.
No. So
The
I
12th
think
round,
this last
the
event,
I think you
12th
can
round
make
is
the
over. We're
argument.
going to tally the points. We're going to tally
I
the
think
points.
you can make.
Okay.
I think you can make the argument that the Tauntauns win in 2016 or 17.
they win one tournament through
but
all these times.
That
Good
is
for them.
that
was awesome.
is so
Super
iconic
exciting.
and makes their legend.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it makes their legend
For them.
so much. No, for anyone in that region. Like, all right, everybody, we have him back. Sorry, we got disconnected for a second, but Matty, welcome back.
Oh, the gremlins.
Kind of lost track of where we were, in which tangent we were on.
That's not a surprise.
I think you were in the middle of apologizing for being wrong in the discussion about European paintball, but
fallacy,
we don't have
that
to go back into that.
Not at all what happened right now. You were actually about to be like, you know what? I feel like they should have a chance to grow, like just a little fertilizer in the garden for a bit, a couple years.
I want them to grow. I think we just have different ideas of best way to
Fire
grow.
it up.
I want them to grow. That's what I want.
Here's the deal. I still got a little bit of a sick kid. I can't spend the next half hour just
Okay.
trying to tell you that you're wrong because you are. I can't do that, So
Oh boy.
So there's a lot of energy going through these computer screens and out into the world onto the microphones. You know what I mean? And we got it cooking at PTG. All right.
How about we jump into some Discord questions?
Yes, I was gonna say we got to go.
There we
questions,
go,
dude.
Okay. All right.
PTG.
Perfect. So I've got CB2K Macroline Gang. He says, let's go, Matty, back in the building. All right, so Matty, back in the PSP days, players would put their jersey numbers on their loaders with stickers as part of their uniforms.
Yes.
Would it help the spectating and commentary of the sport to bring that back and make it more official and easier for spectators to identify players on the field?
Whoever this is, let's recognize his genius because I would like to say yes. I literally just had this conversation with Tom Cole in England this past weekend. And I was like, hey, and Jason was over there too. I'm like, and we started talking about this, I don't know, as we always do, because those guys they really mean well. They
care.
Do care. They mean well. They're working hard. It's not an easy job. So I love them. But anyway, so we were talking back and forth, and I'm like, why did we get away from the numbers? Especially if we're going to bring stats back, And so, and anyway, so it was like, that to me is an absolute 100% no-brainer that we need to bring. Yes, bro, I definitely agree. And the only way that we went away from it was because, to be honest, I wouldn't say laziness, but just it was one of those things that it's like anything, man. If you're putting up 225 or 300 on the bench, and then you decide that day you don't want to do 300 anymore, and then the next day you do 225, what becomes your norm, right? It's like one extra thing the sport has to worry about. You have to print the numbers, you got to put them on the loaders, we got to enforce it. It's just one extra thing that has to happen. And I feel like that's the only reason that we because I was like, Tom, why did we get away from that? And he didn't really have an answer for me. And again, love Tom, and he was about it. He's like, let's do it again. And I was like, Jason, do we have a reason specifically that we got away from that? And he was also, yeah, let's do it again. So yes, we're going to do that again. That's going to happen. It's going to happen.
There we go.
Awesome.
Shout out to the macro line gang.
Yeah, I still put the stickers on my loader at a lot of events. I just think it looks professional.
Yes.
I think it's good for our sport.
Race car. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm all about it. Yes,
totally.
We're going to do that
Absolutely.
Again. 100%.
Yeah, we need those numbers up there. And the macro line gang is actually a whole new thread that we have in the PTG World Discord, where if you have a gun with a macro line on it, we got a whole space for you in PTG World. Everyone's posting pics of their old guns with macro lines. It's
So
going
not
wild
micro,
in there.
But macro line, the old school macro line.
Big dog.
Yeah, it's got to be
big
like
dog.
A big dog.
Yep.
Love
It's
that.
crazy in there. We have a lot of fun. All right. We have Osborne for this. People always ask, who is the best player of all time? But I would like to know, who are the 5 top teammates of all time? And then also, you can have anyone from today co-host an NXL game with you, but they have to do it from outside the paintball industry. Who would it be and why?
Wow,
that's a great question.
That's a great question, but also I feel like a lot of questions in one question. So
a lot of
So,
let's go with the first one first.
Yeah, just
the best
teammates.
players. Yeah, 5 of them. 5 best teammates.
Wow, they're not even good players. That's such a great question.
Because it adds to the overall chemistry of that whole organization, and they might not get the
does.
shine, but they're the best teammates.
You know what though? I'd have to say, even though Shane Pestana was one of the best teammates ever. I mean, he was our captain,
Yeah.
but he was a teammate. But it to be all of that at the same time. Brahim Stefan back in the Ironman days, even though
Yeah.
we ended up not really seeing eye to eye on some stuff, but I do really respect that guy. He was a great teammate. Ron Phipps was a great teammate on Excessive. Because it's like you need.
Ron is amazing.
Yeah, you guys remember Ron Phipps? Yeah.
Yep, I do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So trying to think also. I mean, because honestly, like a lot of these dudes, you know who was a really good teammate? Micah McLaughlin was a really good teammate, dude. Like he was a good teammate. I mean, he would help with the organization. He crunched the numbers when we needed points. He'd drink with you at the bar. I mean, Micah was a good teammate. And he was also one of the best players too. Rich Telfer was a good teammate in like a more harsh way. We still argue to this day. I wouldn't necessarily say argue, but he will say, "Oh man, I wish that back in the day I would have understood that this was also about having like somewhat of a good time, because we were as seriously as everyone takes it now. Like we were trying to take it as seriously then, and even though it wasn't, but I kind of understood that it wasn't. I'm like, look, like we're getting it this way, but like we need to play a little jazz with this because it's not quite there yet. So I'll help drag it that way too. But brother, like you got to give me a night here or there." And Rich was just like the taskmaster, like, "No, it's not going to happen." And now he apologizes to me, saying, "Oh, I'm sorry that I was such an asshole," and I apologize to him. And I'm like, not apologize, but give respect to him and say, "You know what? I'm glad you were there, because if it wasn't for our push and pull, if we didn't have that, then the team wouldn't have had the complete experience type situation." So Rich Shuffer was a great teammate.
One of the best dudes ever, and he's a sensei master when it comes to this. And the sensei does not give an inch.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
He does not give an inch, and that is an amazing thing to have in the repertoire when you're getting coached and mentored by someone like that. It makes you that diligent as well.
But that was the thing, is that Tyler, like he wasn't really the sensei. He was, you can't be my sensei. Like you can be, let you be my captain, but bro, I'm not going to let you tell me exactly what I should and should not be. It's like it was that push and pull. It was not. I could write a whole book about this specific like relationship experience, but yeah, the teammate stuff. And then I'll tell you what, I will send a definite big shout out, and this is not one human being because this is many people, but I feel like the most, arguably when it's all said and done, and it definitely won't feel this way at the time, but you could argue, and at least what brought the best out of me was that the teammates that give you the least credit, the teammates that hate you the most, the teammates that doubt you the most, the teammates that really is in every way your antagonist, because without them you wouldn't be as strong as you are. Because the people that pat you on the back and tell you you're going to be awesome, the people that love you, that pump you up, like those people are fundamentally important, because that's 95% of it. But if you don't have because think about it, it's like if you're creating a knife and the bulk of the material creates everything but the edge. But in order to get that edge, the thing that cuts, like you really have to put that against some sort of tensile strength. Like that needs to be put against something that's like gently going to be rubbed against something that's going to, make it sharp. You could also put it on a grinder too. I used to work in a warehouse at Dye, so I could sharpen an edge. So you should probably, to the end of this question, is that even though it's probably the last person on earth that you would ever want to thank, but when it's all said and done, you should probably thank your worst teammates, the people that you really argue with all the time, because they honestly are really the people that keep you the sharpest. They're literally they are the thing that sharpens the edge, other than your opponents, because because everyone else just
That's really deep,
puts the
dude.
bulk there.
That's really good.
The rest is just the
Yeah.
bulk. But where it gets sharpened, like that really depends on how sharp you cut. That's the people you're trying to prove wrong and the people you're fighting against, you know. And anyone that I'll argue that till the cows come home too. But I feel like that's a truism in competition. It's important to recognize.
You grow through the struggle and through the hard times and through, you know, people giving you a hard time too. You gotta find the strength from within and become better. And, you know, you're going to be what you're going to be. It's up to you. Nobody's going to save you out there. Nobody's going to do the work for you. So it's in your best interest to take it on all fronts and just be the best you can be when you step out on that field.
Or you can quit. Those are your options. You
Yeah.
get better.
Yeah.
You get sharper, or you quit. That's it.
Yep. Straight up.
Yeah.
And then someone that you would co-commentate with.
Real quick. It's all good, Ty. Just to add to that, I think that's actually what makes the best leaders in the world is they're the ones that can do both. You know, they can break you down and they can build you up, and they know when you need each one of those things. You know, that is something that Shane Pistano was great at. Yeah. Oliver was one of those, you know, individuals that was great at it. There's been a lot of, you know, individuals that are like that to me, those are the best leaders. They're the ones that people gravitate to. They're the ones that, you know, can get the most out of you, you know?
Absolutely.
Got to be able to do both.
Yes, sir. And then the second part of that question was co-hosting from someone from outside of the paintball industry. Who would that be and why?
I love this question.
I mean,
nice job, Osborne.
Yeah, I mean, co-hosting outside of the paintball industry. I mean, if I went with anyone other than Joe Rogan, like I feel like,
boom,
you know, like who else?
Damn, that'd be tight.
Who else could I possibly try to grab? Maybe Jocko Willink. Because I feel like you have to understand. Like I've done
the Matty Joe show.
Well, yeah,
the Matty Joe show.
The Matty Joe show.
That would be tight.
Oh no. Oh,
well, it has to be somebody that, like, you can't with paintball, because I worked with a lot of people that have not done paintball before, like on the ESPN shows. I mean, I've definitely worked with the radio DJ, ski commentator. I mean, I've worked with actors. I mean, I've definitely worked with a lot of people before. So if I had to pick, it would be somebody that understands at least we're in the same mindscape as us. You know, like we're kind of in the same world where when we start talking about things that they're going to be able to, first of all, paintball is like quick, right? So mixed martial arts is very quick. So people that are at that level can keep up. And then obviously, you know, but yeah, Joe Rogan would be my number one dude. Like I would love to call a game with Joe Rogan. That would be a bucket list moment for me, because that would be tight.
That'd be so tight.
That would be tight.
That'd be so tight. I love that question. I was born for this, which, you know, I was born for this. I love that. Good little twist on there in the Discord. That's a great question, my man. Awesome. All right. Even better name. We got Big Wolf D in the building. Good name. And this is a great question too. The Discord. Shout out to the PTG Discord one time. You guys, first of all, the last week has been amazing. We've had some great conversations in there. And you guys have been asking good questions lately. We appreciate that. It makes the show better. Glad to have you guys involved. Thank you for this one. Big Wolf D says, if you were hired to build a franchise for a money guy and could take one player under 25 from any team to build around, who would it be? I love this question.
What was funny is that, like, literally you guys were, he said take one player under. He said take one player, and my mind in these instances is going like fire, and I was like Tyler, Marcelo, you know. And so I'm not just saying that because you guys are here, but I'm going through all the different Ryan, like all the different guys that I could possibly get, but under 25,
and then boom,
and then just everything stops, and now I have to sit there and go under 25.
Yeah.
That is a really good question, man.
It's a great question. That's a good question.
That is a great question.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one,
I'm trying to think too. Like
25. Yeah. To be honest, most players under 25 are not as good as everyone over 25. To be honest, I'm trying to think of one exception we possibly could find.
Right.
March. What do you think?
I'm thinking too. I just don't quite know. Yeah, like Thomas Kim is 27, so he's right outside of that.
Yeah, but
shout out to my boy TK.
Yeah, Thomas Kim's awesome, and he's just right outside of that.
Kind
of like an elite guy.
How old is Smotrov?
He's got. Oh, there you go. Yeah, Smotrov might be.
Smotrov is 24.
Okay.
Smotrov is 24 years old.
I might have to go then Smotrov though, just because. Well, here's the thing about Smotrov.
Yeah.
Smotrov is, as far as physicality is concerned, you're not going to find somebody that can match him. Sure, somebody might be a little bit faster, but like I've seen that dude do insanely elite level physical like run and gun shoot dudes, go through catapult over the start station and hit the buzzer with like a half second left. And he's now in the States, so I feel like he's I helped write that dude's visa letter, so like I feel like he's mentally in a space where he could be ready to help build a franchise, and as we have heard from the most recent neuroscientists are telling us, like when you get your working adult brain is essentially 25, so that's like a good measure. So yeah, I don't know, maybe Smotrov would be the guy. I can't think of, can you guys think of another guy that's better like than Smotrov right now that's under 25?
Nothing better, but I question his ability to
be a leader,
succeed outside of the structure of the Russian Legion and be a leader. Yes. I just because I don't know, I'm not saying that that he's not capable of that. He's definitely the best player. And I think he's got to be the best player under 25 right now. The other, maybe Connor Kelly or what's that dude's first name?
Carter
Donaldson. Carter Donaldson from ML Kings. I mean, they're 22, 23, 19. Really good players, have a good program. But as far as just like raw talent, if you can get Smotrov on your team, forget being under 25 or not, I think any top team in the league would try to pick up Smotrov.
Yeah, Smotrov is one of those dudes that his physical level of talent is at such a high level, and it's been so like obvious for a while that if you could get him, but Marcelo, the ML Kings, Connor Kelly, and Carter Donaldson combo, and I'm not sure how old. I would have to check real quick to see how old Connor Kelly is, but I think Carter Donaldson's like 21.
What about
Donaldson
Ben Challenger?
Is I think Ben's over 25.
Yeah, I think.
Is he?
Yeah,
pretty sure.
Like that.
Pretty sure.
Ben Challenger is he's a
I love Benny.
Cerebral mind.
Yeah.
He's a smart dude.
Yeah.
He's
Donald
paintball size.
Mm-hmm.
You got it for us, March?
Donaldson is 23.
Okay.
Yeah, Donaldson is 23, and Connor Kelly's 19.
Connor Kelly is 19 years old.
He's 19 years old.
Well, don't give that dude any beers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. There we go.
There's and I don't know Jerry Caro. I think he's over the.
No,
over 25.
Jerry Caro is definitely over 25 for sure.
He is, right?
Yeah. He's got to be. I'm almost positive.
And then I do want to take a moment to just talk about Shane Howe, because he's, in his upper 40s,
175
and
years old.
people in the Discord were blown away with the discussion of like, moving into your 30s and 40s, playing top level pro ball. There's a lot of people who are inspired, and I feel like
a lot of people, Matty, with your comments of
yes,
don't let the weakness in. Doesn't matter if you're 30 years old, you can do this.
Don't.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Lying. It's just like
a lot of people were excited about that.
It's impressive because look at dude, Slava was 49 years old out there looking really spry.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
And having
you should have seen him in Germany, dude.
Dude, Slava was.
Yeah.
I mean, what was it? I think it was game 2, day 2. I may be wrong on this, but maybe off on a game here or there. But dude, Slava was like in the snake, just murdering. Then he goes in the center, has a game in the center, finds his way onto the D side, plays like a 2 on the snake side as well. I mean, he was kind of all over the place. And I'm watching this, I'm like, this dude is 49 years old. No joke. He's about to be 50 in like 4 months, and was just out there just handling. And it was really,
awesome.
It was really impressive. And I'm like, okay, this is what's possible. Because he's been into mixed martial arts. He's had like a crazy life. He speaks like 6 different languages. He's been kind of lived all over the place, but and he's he's done martial arts his entire life, and he's kept himself very fit, and he's definitely 49. I mean, if you sit next to him and it's like you look at me, you're like, yeah, dude, like that dude's not 25 anymore. You know, I mean, he got bald and got a gray beard. I'm 44. And you look at, and when you look at Slava, like he shaved his face. So you can't tell like how gray he is, but you can see like he's got some lines in his face and he's definitely there, but he's 49, bro.
Oh, yeah.
And it was incredibly impressive to see him be as spry and as lively around the field as he was. Like that's what's Tyler, Marcelo, that's what's possible, bro. Like, okay, this is the stage is set here for you guys.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't know. I think I got like 2 more years and I'm out of this bitch.
2 more years, huh? You think 2 more years? I think that's a bold.
Maybe even just 1, you know, 33 sounds like a nice time to retire.
Yeah. I mean, I retired at like 28, so I feel you.
Yeah,
guys,
right.
dude. You know, I can't. Yeah.
No, I still got a lot left to do. I don't know about 50 though. I don't know. I just think life moves in chapters, and I think there's going to be something by that time that I'm going to be much more excited about pursuing, you know, and maybe it's PTG, whatever this evolves into, which we have big grand plans for it. But 50s, that's a long time. I mean, I'm gonna be playing 10-man or something, you know, ICC occasionally.
Oh yeah, you could. I mean, you definitely play 10-man or like big games, that sort of stuff. But I mean, again, I feel your pain on that because it's also it requires so much to do it at such a high level. And when you kind of lose that, it's like, okay, so Oliver came to spend some time out here and he stayed at my house for a couple days. Well, he actually slept in his van, even though we would like kick it on the couch and like go to my backyard and chill and drink some red wine and look at the stars and talk about whatever, everything essentially. But then I can't really, I mean, he stayed here, but he didn't stay in the house because he like slept in the van. But, and we were talking about this sort of stuff. And, you know, everyone has their own journey of what they would like to accomplish. But the one thing is that when you do stop playing, there is that certain beastly spiritual element to your soul that you don't get kind of in other things. So you have to totally be okay with letting that entity go, because riding that dragon, no pun intended, or that tiger or like whatever it may be, but like riding on top of the spiritual creation of your ego that allows you to harness like the best that you are, like that's a powerful thing. And but after a while that trying to harness that becomes more of a like soul suck than it is like a soul boost. And that's where that is for everybody, is kind of their own journey. So
when it's time,
you know, so it's when it's time, but there has to be something else there for most people of our you know, mindset to kind of chase. But you know, it's to each their own. But he had said
definitely,
and sometimes I talk about that colloquially, or you know, as kind of like mention that as the demon. You know, it's like you have that demon in you that lives in you that you need to summon. And I don't really like mean it's like it's a demon. I mean, maybe it is, but I just, it's more of that there has to be like the energy that you're willing to ride on, you know, whatever that is, that thing that you have to hit yourself to get up, you know, where you're like, let's go Dynasty, let's go Heat, you know, like what, or if you're, let's go Tyler, let's go Marcelo, like in your soul, in yourself, in your soul, to get up for that. And when I was talking to Oliver about that, to me, one of the reasons that I decided to move on and do all this media stuff was that, like, that's where my passion was now, because to me it was like that was taking something that was this big, which was my story, and turning it into something that was this big, which was everyone's story. So that was exciting to me. And then for Oliver, he's like, yeah, dude, I just couldn't summon the beast anymore. You know, like it stopped to be some, like he didn't want to go there in his mind anymore, you know? So, but
I understand that.
But Oliver also, I feel like if you know, everyone's like, oh well, everyone kept asking me, is Oliver going to play again? If things had been different and Dynasty had like a regular practice schedule leading up, and Marcel, you can correct me if you think I'm wrong here or you think Oliver's full of shit, but he had said that if it had been a regular schedule instead of the Texas event where it's like no practice schedule, because Oliver seemed to be all about the grind. He was like, bro, I wanted to come in here and like get his
what you're saying
on.
is we lost Oliver Lang coming back because of a blind layout. That's what you're saying right now.
Pretty much. Yep. Yeah, I'm not joking. Yes.
I think you're right. He did say that. That's what he said. He's like, if it was, and sorry to interrupt, Matty. I was
No.
kind of making a joke
That's all good.
about the damn blind layouts. That's been a hot topic at PTG as well. But I believe that's true. I believe that's true. If we had a layout and we had a structured practice, I think he was excited to actually put in a little bit of work, and come in kind of prepared. I think he didn't want to go in unprepared, and I understand that. Not playing for,
dude. So
that's not Oliver.
So Dynasty didn't practice before the blind layout, and Oliver was not about to just. Oliver's not going to come in, like just dragging on his like giant, huge goat wings that are just a stretch from horizon to horizon and just descend upon paintball and be like, oh, I've come to play some points. No, fuck that. Oliver's a warrior, bro. Like Oliver wanted to show up.
Yeah.
At least when me and Oliver were drinking some bottles of wine, and Oliver doesn't drink anymore, and we're sitting there, and it was just, I mean, when we were getting into the thick of it, like you could see the old Oliver come out, and he had basically said to me, he was like, look, I came back here thinking like maybe I do want to play, but the last thing that I would ever do, especially to Dynasty and to the world or to myself, which would be to come in and just expect that I'm gonna play, and not train at all. So he was hoping that he would come in and there would be some weekends and he would be forced to kind of talked into training. Like he didn't say that, but you can kind of tell like totally. That was kind of how it was 100%. And then there would be a couple practices. And he would have to practice, and then if he did well, then maybe he earned some play time. I feel that's where his head was at. And then when he arrives, and it's not really necessarily just the blind layout; it's the intention towards the blind layout because you guys could have practiced. But anyway, he would just
no. He was clear in his delivery of that message of there not being a reason to practice.
Not when I talked to him.
We had practice. The team played the weekend before. His issue was not that the team didn't play.
Yeah.
The team played. We had 5 guys out at Camp Pendleton. Oliver chose not to go because there was no layout. I've got the receipts here.
I mean, I believe
I've got them.
But I'm just saying
I've got them.
Just because something is said doesn't necessarily mean that's the intent. I'm just saying that maybe. But when we were discussing things intricately for a couple nights, it was that he wanted to get in there and bang and do and and kind of see how he could handle it, because he told me straight up, he's like, Matty, and this is the same sort of thing where I said this to who was it when we were talking like black coins, cocky young kid for the Lucky 15, Spencer. So we're sitting there and he's like, oh yeah, how do I get one of these black coins? And I was like, well, I have black coins, and but if you want to play me for one, you got to play me for one where I earned it, which is with an autococker in the woods. And he was like, oh, I fucking destroy you, and I was like, you know what? I hope you do, bro. Because if I even graze you with the paintball, bro, the fact that you played this much paintball and I played like paintball, like just a touch, and I'm 44 and you're 22, like, dude, that's ridiculously embarrassing for you, dog. If I hit you one time, like, that's pathetic. And he was just like, yeah, no, I'd destroy you. And I was like, yeah, I get that. No, we all understand. I'm old, you're young. You play all the time, I don't. But if I do fucking hit you in the woods, bro, that's insanely pathetic. Do you understand that? And he was just like, yeah, no, I think I understand. Anyway, so Oliver gets it. Like Oliver doesn't want to tarnish his legacy and come over here and just play because he's Oliver. Oh, hey, let me get a good huddle speech and pump you guys up, and then just get a couple points for pride. No, Oliver does not want to do that. He doesn't want to have anything to do with like a courtesy,
with mediocrity,
bow.
Period.
Like he's not just wanting to come in and just bow on everyone and just like get a couple points. If he's going to play again, it will be it will be him coming over and getting a legit like practice session and then playing, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guarantee you at some point, he's definitely going to be back hitting the fields with like a 10-man team or with some type of organization at some point, moving into the next 5 years.
Oh, I hope so.
He's got it.
I mean, it's got to eat it all over a little bit to see Ryan and Alex. Like Ryan and Alex have both won MVP awards. Like if Oliver had stuck around, you're telling me that Oliver's not going to win an MVP? Like what story would have that been? Like that would have been an amazing story. So
very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
All right.
All
So
right, we
what other
got
questions we got here? Because I don't have a lot of time left.
yes, sir. So I do want to hit on we got the one JT. He's wondering what is the long-term goals for Go Sports, possibly partnering with a large stream platform like Twitch. And this kind of goes with a couple other of the PTG lords in here, Fox Run Gaming and Mole King, wondering about Go Sports and what we can do to make that experience as best as we can for the viewers and have those good conversations on the show. So what is the long-term goal for Go Sports?
I mean, the long-term goal is we're trying to produce the best paintball broadcast that people have ever seen. I mean, that's always been the goal. And so, but the only way we can do that is the support. What technology is at our disposal, and then what support do we have to utilize that technology, right? So, yeah, I mean, that just goes directly to how many people we can elicit an emotional response from the world to give us the support to do that. But yeah, like we're and then also there's what happens live, and then what we can capture to try to tell the story of afterwards. So, we would love to try to create something that could get on a Netflix, or a streaming platform.
Yeah, that'd be tight.
I mean,
Iron Kids documentary, quite possibly.
yeah, for sure.
Something like that, right?
And that's not like a, that's not like a Go Sports project, but best believe I've been trying to do everything I possibly can to make that as good as it possibly can be. Talking to all the people behind
That was
it.
another question in here. If you had anything to do with the Iron Kids documentary.
I mean, Dan Napoli is running that show. And Alex and Oliver are doing, they're doing the best they possibly can to fund that to its extent to make it amazing. I mean, they're bringing in a heavy hitter crew. Same thing we're trying to do with Go Sports too. I mean, the last event that we had, we had Dan Napoli there, shooting opens.
Yeah.
I mean, we brought in DQ from Dirter fame. We're trying to bring in. We're working with Dylan and Moffat. We're trying to work with everybody we possibly can work with.
Totally.
That cares. To try to, because we've been discussing, we're all fighting the same battle, and sometimes we're fighting it on the same front, sometimes we're fighting it on different fronts, but we are all in this fight. So, we're doing everything we possibly can to raise that flag up over the right hill, that we all conquered together, again, to ultimately create something that elicits an emotional response from the world. So with the Iron Kids documentary, yeah, I mean, I feel completely confident that Dan is going to crush it. I mean, he had Chris Diltz and Sam Napoli there, or Dan. So Dan Napoli had Sammy also working with them too. So, I mean, it's just kind of an all-star crew as far as the creative is concerned, and yeah, I mean, they're spending money on it. They're bringing in the best and the brightest. They're bringing all the people in for the interviews. I think it's going to be amazing. So I think it has a decent chance of, trying to get out to have a fascinating story that will, again, it just is what it is. Like we put these things out to the world, and people either do or do not care, and how much they care is a completely contingent upon how good of a story it is. So it's like, what story exists there, and then how much can the creators pry that story from the minds of the people that lived that story, and how much are they willing to open up about it? Because that's also been a problem with paintball too, because and this is maybe for, I don't know if we have enough time for this, but I have this problem all the time. Not you two, but everyone wants to hashtag grow paintball. But when I sit there and I'm like, hey, can I get you in the booth? Or hey, can I get you to come do an interview? Or hey, can I get you to do this? Can I get you to do anything other than get paid to play paintball? It's like, yo, dude, you get paid to show up to this field to play paintball. So you're taking from this sport. Like, that's awesome. You did whatever you had to do to get here, to get paid to do it. But now all these people that are around here to watch you, and all these people that are going to be inspired by you, like, just you showing up to play the game. Like, dude, this isn't football. This isn't baseball. Like, you can't be Marshawn Lynch here being like, oh, bro, I'm just going to let my play do the talking for me. Like, we don't have that. Like, hey, dude, if that's your prerogative. If that's what you want to do, but that's not helping. You can't say that you want to grow paintball and then show up and just play and take the money out of the sport, like, in the same breath. Like, you can't, that's not going to work, because not enough people care about this. Like, we need you to be a god, we need you to show up and, like, be amazing. Like, we need you to transcend. And for you to say that you don't want to do interviews, like, who the fuck do you think you are? You know, like, what do you think we are? You think that you're so good that you don't have, you can just show up and play paintball and not talk? Like, the people in the regular sports can't even do that. They have like riders in their contract that says they have to talk, and you don't want to talk because you don't want to give your secrets away. Again, I'm not trying to name names, but to me, that's like, bro, you don't know, you don't really know what we're doing here. Like, and you're being very selfish about this. So that's a problem, you know, like that's a problem that we have in our sport, is that people don't, and I always tell people, like, hey, there are things for public consumption, and not everything has to be for public consumption. But the more that you know, the more you want to know. And this is where we are. So, you know, let's treat it as it is, which is that we are living in a world where there are a 1,000 distractions other than paintball. And if we can't convince people to care, then I do not want to hear about how you want to grow the game, because you are not doing things. It's like, okay, you want to be a jack monster and you're not lifting weights. You can't sit on the couch and, you know, drink beer and eat burgers and tell me you want to be a jack monster. So again, things just don't jive sometimes. So that's a problem in our sport, man. We need everyone to buy in. You know, we need the people that say they want to grow the game to actually do the things and understand the things that need to exist to grow the game. You know, so yeah, I mean, because I can't put a show on Netflix if it's not, if we don't have conflict or crisis, and if it's not fascinating, because Netflix will laugh in our face and be like, this is amateur hour bullshit, and we are not going to accept this. You know, I can't just show up and be like, look at the fascinating paintball that happened. Is that what happens in the, you know, in the F1 show? No, that's not it. It's not just about what happens out there, you know, while they're racing cars around. Is that anything in any mainstream media ever? No, it's not. So like, let's get some stuff to work with here. You know, we need some conflict or crisis. We need some drama, you know, like, because that's at the end of the day what human beings as emotional robots care about. And to sit there and say that the paintball itself, like, I'm such a good paintball player, I don't need to do interviews because I'm so good in the snake, or I'm so good at this. It's like, dude, you have literally no idea how sport itself got to where it is, and that is like, that's just not going to work. So that's a problem for us.
The clouds above my house literally just cracked open, and thunder just like shook my entire house when you said this, all this stuff right now is insane. I mean, it's crazy.
I mean, I'm not talking
like
about you
Zeus
guys.
is right above.
I'm not talking about
no,
you guys.
I'm just
Thor,
saying.
the god of thunder.
Yeah, Zeus is above cracking
Do you
off.
guys understand
right
what
now.
I'm talking about? Like, no bullshit. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes.
Is that
And
is
Matty,
not important?
Absolutely.
It's imperative.
It's very important.
Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll be the first to say the show is phenomenal. What you guys are doing, all the resources that are being poured into Go Sports and making sure that we boost paintball is phenomenal right now. And we want to do everything that we can as well to help you guys. So if we do have the free games on like the Friday, Saturday, I don't know when they are, but on the YouTube, man, let us know. We'll boost those on the PTG.
Facts.
We'll boost them all over the socials. And it's up to all of us, man. We got to all share that. We all got to, you know, make sure that everyone knows about these games, and just drive it towards Go Sports and helping grow this amazing league and this show that we've designed here.
Yeah, I did not know that it was live on YouTube on I think Saturday and maybe even Sunday morning for free to the public at the last event. I had no clue.
That we've been doing that for a little bit, just as like kind of a teaser, you know. It's like we have 10 hours of broadcast, so if we can put 1 hour out to the world early on, then why would we not do that? But we've been doing that for quite a long time now, to be honest. Like, that's been something we've been doing.
Yeah, and it's like, I wish, because I remember at least as far back as I knew, Fridays were, I think the last I knew was Fridays were public, and then the rest was behind the paywall. I'm not sure, but
it had changed.
We should, you know,
it's kind of changed over time. I mean, because honestly, we're just trying to figure it out too, right? It's like what works best.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a 3-day situation where it's literally like almost, you know, depending on how long each game runs, but it could be 10 hours a day. So it's 30 hours of content in 3 days. And but yeah, for a while now we've been like, okay, well, let's give an hour out here, like this game there, in the beginning, just to kind of at least get some sort of free thing out there to then build demand for, you know, it's like what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's
Matty, question. I only have one more question from the Discord, but just to add on this, because I actually think it's an important topic of conversation, and it was actually Archie's idea. And I pretty much immediately shut it down. I was like, no, that's silly. That doesn't make sense, because it was so opposite of everything that I've thought which is give away all the games up until the semifinals, and then you have the semifinals and finals behind the paywall, which makes sense. Like, this should be a paid for thing. It's the best show of what we have at the highest level. So it should not be free. Archie's idea was you have everything behind the paywall up until the finals, and the finals is the game you give away for free. And it's actually, the more that I thought about it, I was like, that kind of makes some sense. All of the fans that watch, all of the supporters now, they're going to pay because they want to see all that paintball. But the one game that everybody gets to see is the biggest game there is of the weekend. So it's like the most dynamite, the most alluring, the most, has all the wow factor. The stands are packed. I think back to like 2019, I think I was commentating the World Cup finals with you guys. It was Heat versus the Russians. That game, just on the webcast, you go back and watch the webcast, it's insane. It looks so cool. Like, it's just so action-packed.
That game was amazing. That was such a particular game too.
Totally.
I'm interested on that. I don't really know how that would do, because that definitely goes against, as I say, I hate split deck, because split deck goes against 100 years of sports storytelling, because that's just not what you do. You don't focus on two separate stories and four separate stories with two different battles going on.
Totally.
So yeah, I don't think I could go and pull any info that would give me any insight into what we would be in store for if we did it that way.
Yeah, of course. I don't either.
I'm thinking off of.
It's interesting.
No, it's definitely super interesting. I mean,
it's an interesting when he first said it, I was like, that's silly. Yeah. Like, I truly, my initial reaction was like, what? Why give away the most important game? But then I'm like, I think the people, like, if it's only one game that's being for free, people want to watch the tournament. They want to watch the story, the build up, and all that.
But they'll be able to see
and so for people just scanning,
no, it's for sure. It's just right. To me,
that's true.
It's like, who do we serve, right? I do want people to see what we do, but it is prohibitively expensive to cover it the right way. And as we kind of spoke about in episode 1 of this specific conversation, is that though I've been a part of lighting a lot of money on fire over time, we've learned a lot of lessons from lighting that money on fire. And Marcel, you had said that, like, yeah, but lighting that money on fire has brought a lot of moths to the flame over time. It's brought a lot of people in to kind of become, fall in love with this thing that we do, so but my default over time, just because I've had to fight through so many different incarnations of building up this entity, dude, I've worked for, it's like the PSP, the MPPL back in the day, WGN, ESPN, CBS Sports, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, to get us to like this current place that we are. And so over time, just because it's like somebody that's fought a lot of battles, I'm going to be a little bit more conservative, just because I want us to survive. It's like, okay, well, I've seen all the times that dudes got their heads chopped off, and all the battles and all the hills that we did die on, and it didn't work out. And, I've survived through all that. So, let's try to at least take some wisdom from that. But, fuck it, dude. I'm also still down to die on some hills,
it was just an interesting concept, because I also do a lot of thinking of even stuff that's not in my control, or, of like how things could be done better for the sport of paintball. Tyler's the same. This is our life, same as you, Matty, this is our life through and through. And that particular version of it just had never crossed my mind. And it was interesting that the more I thought of it, I was like, maybe that could work. But yeah, I don't know. totally fine and happy with the way it's going right now too. I think Go Sports is doing a damn fantastic
We
job.
just want to continue. It's like, so with like the statistics coming in here soon, hopefully, and then
hopefully,
so then we have, that is going to be a huge component of it, and then trying to constantly, and our mandate, and I've said this before, and I will say it can just repeatedly, because I don't think you can be, if you're sitting in my position for whatever, it's UFC or the NFL or even live golf or major, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Like you have to chase the drama, because that's just how it is. I mean, because in paintball, I think that we kind of I think we allow ourselves a little bit too much power behind the spectacle of it, because when we see paintball, we think that spectacle is fascinating, but most people that don't know what they're looking at look at it as it being confusing. And then the knee-jerk reaction from us after we realize that is to try to simplify things. But when you look at the complexity of gaming and other sports that exist, simplifying things is, so then the reaction to that knee-jerk reaction of trying to simplify it, like, oh, a grandma should, I've heard this before sometimes, oh, like, a soccer mom should be able to tune in and know what her son is doing. And I'm like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like, that is not how this goes down. And that's not how things become interesting to people that are participating in. So, simplifying ththings just out of simplicity's sake is the worst reaction ever to that. So, yeah, I don't really feel that that's what needs to happen. We don't need to continue to kick the, cut the balls off of this sport. I think we need to embrace it and let it be what it is. I can't stand out there, and I'm glad we've come away from this, and I'm glad the NXL has gone this route. But penalizing emotion with like bullshit overshooting penalties or hitting a bunker penalties or like all this ridiculous stuff that existed when the PSP was around. I'm so glad we've gone away from that, and I just think that we kind of need to get back to our roots a little bit and understand that what the people that play paintball, like what they're really trying to do here, and embrace that, and just let the chaos reign a little bit. Let the enjoyment of being a sportsman participating in this crazy game of paintball is, and then document that, and it's embrace that side of things, and chase the drama, because please show me some success of anything that's ever existed in the mainstream in the past 100 years where they didn't chase the drama. There's no such thing. It does not exist.
Have to.
Just is what it is.
Absolutely.
Man. You got to let it be what it is. So, this is just, it is what it is.
That's it, baby.
Matty,
you're a damn legend, dude.
Yeah. I got my last question for you.
Okay.
And it's from JF13, James Feliciano. Shout out to the Northeast. He goes, if you had $1 for every time you said, back when I played with Excessive, how much money do you think you'd have?
I mean, I don't know, but am I not allowed to like reference when I played on a baller ass team? Who's this dude's name? What team did you play on, bro?
Oh, he's in trouble now. James Feliciano. I think he's on like the Wolves or something. I don't know. He kind of bounces around, but you'll see him. He's got long hair.
Never heard of him, bro.
Damn.
Shout out to James one time.
Sorry, James.
Yeah. Hey, Matty, dude, you have one of the biggest hearts in paintball, man. Thank you so much for everything that you do to drive this sport forward, because it does not go unnoticed. And also for everybody out there, please support Matty with his new Excessive jersey that he's dropping. Yes. Pick those up.
I bought
hit
mine.
him up on Instagram.
Yep,
hit him up. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I'm placing my order right now. As soon as I get off the show, I'm placing my order with you.
Dude, I do have the last story about this. So this specific, it's the California Bear jersey. And also you can win the famous book signed by all the San Diego people. So the jersey is designed off the California Bear, the original California Bear jersey, which was a fascinating story, just real quick, which was it was the cousin of Abraham Lincoln's wife, and he happened to be stationed in California at the time. And then it's also Paul Revere's grandson are in this story together. So the cousin of Abraham Lincoln's wife, William Todd, he was the only dude that could actually draw when these dudes took over. Like, imagine you're the governor, you're the Mexican governor of Alta California, and somebody rolls up and they like knock on your door and they're like, hey, you open the door, and it's these like grizzled mountain men. They're like, hey, we're taking over. We're now, this is now the California is its own republic. And you're like, yeah, sure. Okay, don't kill me. Would you like some brandy? And so they kind of like take over the entire state by just like, and this dude Marino Vallejo, which is where Yost lives now,
Savages.
like it's this town's named after this dude, the guy who was the governor at the time. And it's the 1840s. And so so they kind of take over, and but so this guy creates this flag, and that's the original flag of California. Like, you can still see it on the flag to this day.
Yeah.
And the only reason that it got taken over was just like 13 days later, or like 12 days later. But Paul Revere's grandson rolls in and takes over for the United States, and so hoists the Stars and Stripes and takes down the flag that was literally drawn with like blackberry juice, which is still like the flag of the United States today, or of California today. But it was like, we wanted to create that because
You're the
it
best,
was
Matty.
just like some random shit that we wanted to put out there to the world. So that's why it was the California Bear for the first one. Anyway,
Those
You would
jerseys
be
are
the greatest
those
history
jerseys are sick.
teacher.
Yeah.
You need to like go do some guest lecturing at San Diego State or something, and just like dude, you're built for it.
I'm probably going to do like a history podcast. That's kind of what I've been kind of preparing for all these years. So.
That would be awesome.
I would listen to every single episode.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. And
That
then
would be
call you to
awesome.
argue with. Actually, I wouldn't argue with you anything about history. That's not my realm.
You probably would.
Not my
But
realm.
I would take it on full force because I love you.
Somehow.
So it would be over ribs and a beer, probably. That's what it would be.
There we go.
Oh man, that sounds good. We got to get in there soon.
Yeah.
My last
Ty?
question, Matty, is just in regards to brighter paint shell. Is that something that we're going to see hit the NXL Pro field for filming purposes and for?
I just 100%, Tyler. I feel. I mean, this is one of those hills I would like to die on. Is that we have to have the brighter shells. It's one of those tough things. Is that you can only really do. Like I guess you can lay a heavy hand as the organization that does condone and commodify the competition and say you have to have the bright shell here. But I feel that, regardless of public,
I think you can and you should.
You can and you should. I think so too. Again, that's one of those hills that I would die on just because the implications are so important. But it's just, but I feel
for the viewer,
for the history,
yeah.
for the viewer, it's just to have that bright shell. It pops up so much, when you, especially as more high definition cameras have become prevalent throughout the past 10 years. Anyway, yes, I from what I've been hearing and what we've been trying to do, I do feel that that's the way it's going to continue to go. It's just, again, contrary to public opinion, it's not like the NXL in Go Sports is trying to come in with some like Thanos hand and be like, this is exactly what's going to happen or we will destroy you. That's not how it works in real life. So, but yes, I could not agree more with the fact that there needs to be the brightest shell possible, because that is the easiest way for people at home to understand where those streams are going, for sure.
Yeah, just even for the storytelling, and it's really descriptive when you can see the paint like that.
Yes, it makes my job way easier, dude.
100%.
Way easier.
Absolutely.
I don't understand the pushback. If the paint companies want to say, well, yeah, but we want our paint to have an advantage. If it is the standard, then it's not an issue. Everybody has to do it. So it becomes a moot point. So
I agree.
I don't know. I would like to see that happen. As a competitor, it's not as great. I mean, I guess you could argue it is. Like, if I could see things better, maybe I could make wiser decisions. I don't know. I think I like to think that I have really good eyesight. Well, I do have really good eyesight. I've been fortunate that I can't hear very well. My hearing's not great. That's not a great sense, but I can see well.
Marcel,
and so
with you. My eyes were
I think that's maybe
my ears were terrible. I can't really hear very well. But
really?
I can
Yeah.
see really
It's so funny. It's a strange thing. So it's maybe to my advantage to have darker paint, but I want that bright shell. I want to have slow motion clips of that. I want to have it on Go Sports. I want that bright shell. If it can help tell the story in any way, then I'm all in on that. That takes, absolute precedence over anything else to me.
I'm with you on that. And that one, you're not going to get any disagreement from me on that one, I will argue with you on that one.
We did it.
Yes, we did.
We
it.
did it.
We get like that.
We did it.
What's the sound effects for that one?
We did it, baby. We did it. Matty, you're the best, man. Honestly, thank you so much for hanging out and rocking with us. Freaking two separate days this week.
Dude,
really appreciate it.
No,
hope Monty's
love,
doing
man.
well.
No, yeah.
Sending love to Morgan as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Much love to you guys.
Really appreciate the opportunity. It's just so fun to sit in this seat and not have to ask the questions, but I just feel that it's important, man. And we're all in this together, and we all play different but yet fundamental and important parts of trying to take this to another level. And I just love what you guys are doing, man. I really do. So I said that at the outset of this, and I just feel like we just spent probably 5 hours and 2 days talking about paintball. Though we probably easily we're like, we got to rein it in, dude. Like, it's 8:30 and we got to get back to. But this is just how much we love the game and how fun it is to talk to you guys. So hell yeah, dude.
Absolutely.
Tyler,
Hell yeah, brother.
Keep fighting the good
dude,
fight.
we love you, brother.
Thank you,
sir. Everybody,
Legend.
ladies and gentlemen, Matty the voice Marshall, give it up. Let's go. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, baby. Yeah, let them know.
Thank you so much.
All right, everybody. All right.
Matty, peace, my
I
dude.
love you guys, man.
Later.
Love you guys so much.
Love you too, bro.
PTG fam, welcome back to the show. This episode, we have Matty Marshall back on twice in 1 week. I think it's just a normal thing. We had to have him back on. Our last episode got cut short. He had to attend to the family. So we dove right back into some of the juiciest topics that we've ever had here on PTG. This episode was a lot of fun. It was really fun to participate in. Just a great conversation all the way around. It's always just legendary to get to hang out and learn and talk to Matty Marshall. Matty is the man, the absolute voice of paintball, unequivocally the #1 guy to do our storytelling. We're so thankful for him, and we know you guys are going to enjoy this show. So without further ado, let's hop back in and pick up where we left off.